The college football experience week 4 preview and picks episode of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, but when you do sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience week 4 preview and picks episode. I am excited to be back talking week 4, and I've tried to put out all that negative energy that I had before and focus on a new week of negative energy. All right. So threw it all out. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hop on over there. iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Get on over there. Doesn't matter how you listen. All right. Watch, listen, whatever. Hit that like and subscribe button as we break down every game on the FBS slate for week 4. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swig at Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick D. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're gonna pay for it. Good night.
That's the way I felt last week after I saw the refs. Each one of those
coward terrorist pussies.
Each one of those got a voicemail from me, sounding like that. All right, trying to find their numbers. If anyone knows their numbers, please. I remember one time I was at Dillon's in Hollywood getting totally blitzkrieged, and I was sitting next to an NCAA ref. See if he turned out a Jaeger bomb. That's how you know you can't trust him.
That's right.
That's how you know you can't trust him. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's get it going.
I mean, you want to talk about refs that might be crooked? We have our bud. You know, we're not gonna rat him out, but. He works for the NBA, and during the pandemic, apparently all the refs, because they were locked in.
Wait,
basically,
the NBA being crooked?
Yeah, I know, right? Surprise, surprise!
It's a 40-year-old tale.
Yeah, but apparently he has pictures, and he showed me them on his phone.
I saw them too.
Of all the refs gambling in various ways, all over.
Yes.
It's like very incriminating.
Aren't all the NBA refs from like one county in New Jersey or something?
Yeah,
anyway?
Allegheny County or some shit like that. Delaware County. I don't fucking remember, but
whole county bought.
I'm serious. Yeah,
bought and paid for.
And then there's Haywood Workman. We don't have one. We have one that's not from there. Haywood Workman somehow made the cut. He knows where the bodies are at. We are also joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, home brew making, tobacco road living, a free lot giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. Let's go, guys.
Boom.
Working with a Bud Heavy tonight.
Oh,
woo.
Snap. I feel like a sissy drinking this light stuff. My manhood is in question here around this guy.
How the hell did the Bud Heavy work its way into that equation? What happened? I thought App State
the hotel had
last
limited
week.
Options.
Oh, okay.
Hotel had limited options.
Yeah, buddy. We haven't got your take on last week's action. We know Mike Houston and ECU should have beaten App State, and to recite lines in the chat to numbers where you have a blowout early on, 16-0. Of course, they're going to be a little more conservative at that point. But your App State Mountaineers got a little lucky. ECU drops an interception that would have been a pick six.
Oh yeah,
that gets caught on a third down, and then Mike Houston's Mike Houston. I guess that's not luck. We should just expect Mike Houston to have a kicker that misses extra points and chip shot field goals. But your thoughts on that game and the whole week in general?
My thoughts is that it's the 4 quarters of football, and if you're up 16-0 in the first quarter, you should not go conservative. In the chat, I threw out the stats for the game. Yardage, App State 515, ECU 324. Time of possession, App State 39 minutes, ECU 21 minutes.
That's
final
deceiving
score, App
when you
State
have
21, ECU 19.
That's
what else you want to say?
No, that's going to be deceiving when you have a drive that goes, a few minutes, and you throw a pick six that goes like what? How many 50 yards return? I don't remember, and then you get the ball right back. You know what I mean? A pick six kind of throws off the stats a little bit. Is all I'm trying to say. All right.
When you get more possessions, yeah, that's true.
At the end of the day, the better team rose up and won. App State's been the better team for the last decade.
ECU, Mike Houston should be fired because ECU was the better team. They were the better team, and their scumbag little fucking kickers. How many? Honestly, like Mike Houston's cost East Carolina like probably 10 wins on special teams
on extra points.
Yeah, extra points alone 4. If they beat NC State, if they make an extra point,
maybe he'll be hired by the New York Giants because the Giants had the same issue last week. I don't know, but
this guy
at the end of the day, the better team won.
NC Nick's keeping up with the NFL.
A little bit.
Yeah, look at him over there.
I
can't do it. I can't do it.
Both fantasy teams are 2-0. Good start to the year.
I dropped 200 to get going fantasy this year again, and I didn't even check my lineup for week 2. I'm already out. I already can't pay attention beyond week 1 with the NFL.
Did you declare an onside kick?
Right.
Yeah, you should declare an onside kick in the chat and see how that works for you. Folks, what to tell you? You are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. The war against corporate gambling is heating up, and SGPN needs you to do your part. If you could take a couple seconds right now and rate and review the College Football Experience, well, that'd be great. Takes 2 seconds out of your day. iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Even YouTube if you don't have that other stuff. But more importantly, to quote Brian Kelly, and more importantly, I haven't won all my games yet. Tell a friend. Word of mouth is the heartbeat of SGPN. So you're sitting there. A lot of people tell me they listen to the podcast, while they're working overnight, Amazon or whatever. Well, guess what? Why don't you tap old Joe on the shoulder and say, "You listen to this shit, right?" I don't like college football. Oh yeah, well listen to this shit. I want you to be like, remember that scene in Back to the Future when Marty's killing it on the guitar, and who is
not
it?
Ready for him?
Yeah, and he grabs it and he calls his brother, who's supposed to be like, oh man, I'm drawing a blank right now. Chuck Berry, yes, and he's like, listen to this, that sound you're looking for. Which, by the way, yeah, I got it. I fucking got it over there. All right. I can't. Is he just having technical problems?
Glitching out.
Okay. We heard Chuck Berry.
I was glitching up there.
Yeah, we heard Chuck Berry 3 times. I was like, hey, is this guy fucking with me right now? What's going on here? Buddy, just get on over there. Tell a friend. All right. Word of mouth is the heartbeat of SGPN. All right. There we go. Nathan Haynes. Appreciate you. NC Nick, anything else you want to note from the week? Did you find it absolutely ridiculous, the refs, as I did? And thanks to Josh Pate, by the way, who I've had my feuds with him in the past, and I like his content, but glad to see I wasn't the only fucking idiot, me and you, that noticed how bad it was. But did you share that same?
You have to be blind. Of course, yeah. I mean, you have to be blind not to agree with everything you said about the refs. There was several games where there was just awful calls, a lot of them surrounding the targeting penalty. I mean, not to bring it back to ECU App State again, but like you mentioned in the wrap-up show, I mean, two of App State's best players got ejected from the game for nonsense targeting penalties. Thankfully, that third one was reversed. But I mean, you know, it's unfortunate that it takes away from all the good stuff, all the fun on a college football Saturday.
They got to look. If you're going to call the calls, just don't kick them out the game. If you do a 15-yard penalty, even though that is bullshit too, but let's just start there.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Don't kick them out there. Like the
type 1 and type 2.
App State safety, who by the way gets blocked into it, who got pushed into it. He misses the first half of the game Thursday night, which is just nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like
it's way too severe. I mean, and that beyond like us, and it's our opinion, and I think a lot of people agree with us, but at least there's like they have their reason for trying to implement those pretty strict rules. But the penalty on the player for a whole game ejection for what is an accident and which is almost impossible to avoid in playing the game. I think that's draconian. You know,
it's actually hard to pick the worst one because the more times I looked at the Indiana UCLA one or the Texas A&M Florida one, you're just sitting there like, they're all so bad. Like the Indiana UCLA one is so bad. Both of them. Yeah. It's like, I came into it last Saturday was like LSU, South Carolina is the worst one. And I still think that's probably the worst one because that one directly changed the outcome of the game.
Right.
The other ones did not. Or if they did, it was to a much lesser extent.
But to Colby's point, like 15 yards is one thing. Yes, 15 yards can be very critical in a tight game, but to eject the player is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Colby, let me remind you, you weren't trying to go down this rabbit hole again. You said you were, turning a leaf or turning a corner or, a tide was turning or something.
I'm focusing on new look. Let me crack this beer. That's what's missing. That's what's missing.
I saw College Football Campus Tour in the chat. I will not be at Kid Brewer Stadium on Thursday, unfortunately. I wonder if he's going there. I wonder if
he is.
I know
going
he's been to
there.
Boone often. Oh,
he is going there.
Nice. I love it.
When are you going there this week?
This year?
This year. I can't tell.
I think in November, me and you might go out there for when old James Madison comes to town.
Woo.
Yeah.
Well, Patty C.
Probably be 10-0 for that one.
Oh, wow.
Just like last year. Yeah. I don't know. We got a big one this week. That's true. And look, 2-0 is 2-0. But you got lucky against Biff Poggi, and you know it. Folks, we're going to get to it. Actually, I wanted to talk about this before we got to it. Air Force to the AAC talk. Patty C, a conference with Army, Navy, Air Force. Called the American Conference?
Called the American? Well, they got Hulk Hogan as the commish. What's going on here?
Come on. If it fits, it fits. Maybe they're getting something right. A blind dog finds a bone every now and then.
Do you like the idea of this realignment?
Of course. It's amazing. I liked it when they added Army, and now all of a sudden Air Force is potentially part of the equation. Gotta love that.
And we're that much closer to getting our game on Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Right? There we go. Happen. Noah Beanick. Shout out to Noah Beanick on the boards. The American Athletic. Look at this. He's doing a Monopoly post. It's true. You go and get all the academies. That's and right. Then
get all the railroads.
Your conference. Yeah. Then you build your conference.
Right. Man. You probably can charge a little more, when you do that. You have a more marketable brand, so there might be something to that. I don't know. I mean, I think it makes the American more interesting when you have the Commander-in-Chief trophy all in conference. Come on.
Oh, I love it. 3 conferences or 3 teams in one conference running the the triple or variations of the triple.
You know what I love is Army and Navy right now at the top of the standings in the American.
Well, ECU's in there too. That was a non-conference loss. Okay. That was a non-conference loss. All right, let's get to it. Thursday night, like I said, or like NC Nick said, Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour, will be in the house, folks. If you're going to this game, make sure. My bad. Yeah, there we go. Make sure you hit up at CFB Campus Tour on Twitter. Invite the guy. Look, if you live in Boone or you're tailgating, invite Michael over for a beer. Kick it with a guy that goes to every goddamn college football game. All right, you need to be neighborly. All right. South Alabama's going to get now. Fluff Bothwell had a huge game for me last week on the DFS front. All right, 87 points dropped, and they went to a moving clock. They went to a moving clock and that happened. But Fluff Bothwell, now he's got to hit the road. Does the fluff travel, Patty C?
The fluff will be ready. The fluff gets you ready. Let's be honest.
Is that the best name in college football? Like, there's so many good names. Colin Guggenheim, the running back from Nichols, General Booty. I mean, we were talking about some last week on the show, but Fluff Bothwell,
pretty amazing.
Just a great name.
I mentioned this to Colby.
What's that?
I mentioned this in the DFS pod. Fluff Bothwell sounds like a character from Boogie Nights. It really does. Was his name like Chest Rockwell or something?
Fluff Bothwell was who's the guy that fucking died of the OD. Rest in peace.
In real life?
The
actor.
The actor.
Seymour Hoffman.
That's Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Fluff Bothwell.
Look at that. He's averaging 10.6 yards a rush. Get Fluff as a freshman. Fuck out of here, college football. We give him the Heisman now.
5'10", 220, built like a fucking freight train.
Yeah, you would never make fun of Fluff Bothwell's name to his face.
No.
All right?
I mean, Puff got the name, Diddy, who's in the news right now for different reasons, but you know, he's Puffy and we got Fluffy.
No, Team Fluff over Team Puff all day here, just like the Puppy Bowl.
There's a little too much talk about puffing and fluffing over here. Let's keep it moving.
The spread is -7 for App State. I even see a 6.5 out there right now. South Alabama heading into Kid Brewer Stadium, one of the best stadiums in college football. Series dates back to 2014. I'm starting things off with a bang. I'm locking up App State -7. If you can get 6.5, do it. Do it. South Alabama's, this is their if memory serves me correct, and I do believe I am correct here. They Gio Lopez, this is actually his first road start because he did not play in the Ohio game. So young quarterback getting his first road start, nationally televised, Kid Brewer Stadium. Not so fast. All right. Patty C, you coming with?
You're on South Alabama?
No.
Oh, sorry. Gio Lopez.
Glad to see you're doing the show.
Gio Lopez, South Alabama. Sorry, I was thinking you were talking about.
Yeah.
No, it's ECU that has another Latino quarterback. Doesn't App State have one too? All these Aguilar, Lopez, and Garcia. Getting it done, man.
White Tiger too.
White Tiger, that's right. No, I'm going to roll Joey Aguilar, leading the league in passing with close to 1,000 through 3 games, getting it done. So yeah, I'm on App State to cover that.
So you are going with me?
Yeah, I am going.
All right. Lock?
No.
Oh, come on, Etsy Nick.
I actually disagree with you guys. I've seen this game too many times in the Sean Clark era where they get up for the big game. They beat ECU. It's also a great sandwich spot before Liberty next week. I think this game is closer than expected. And I think App will be fortunate to get out there with a W. We know South Alabama was moving the football, even in the loss to Ohio or the game against North Texas. I think it was week 1. I think that offense can do enough to maybe even backdoor it or something. I think it's too many points. I worry about App State's consistency under Sean Clark. It's been an issue, and I'm going to take the points here with South Alabama.
I mean, let me ask you this: because of the Clemson game, I feel like ECU is probably similar in competition
to Clemson. I agree.
To South Alabama.
ECU is better than South Alabama.
Are they?
Yes.
Were they last year?
No.
Okay,
but
so
South Alabama's whole coach and their whole staff is gone.
All I know is ECU hasn't been particularly impressive.
All I know is App State beat him 31-7 in Sean Clark's last matchup. All right. So you bring it on.
Fair enough.
Bring it on here.
I don't think App State is quite what they've been in recent years, and obviously Clemson annihilated them. If you're right that they probably should have lost to ECU, I don't know why you're as confident as you are in App State, but
because I think South Alabama's like a 5-win team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I'm locking it up. I'll go solo. I'll fly solo. I don't need you cowards to come with me. Friday, Stanford, a legendary ACC matchup. Stanford heading to the Carrier Dome to take on the Syracuse Orangemen. Syracuse laying 9. The over/under set at 57.5. Patty C, I'm on Syracuse. Am I a fool to lay 9 with the Syracuse Orangemen at home at that filthy dome?
It's a big number. It's a long trip for Syracuse, but that is a huge number for Syracuse to cover. I mean, a long trip for Stanford.
Long trip for Stanford.
Yeah, sorry, long trip for Stanford. Especially Cal Poly, they waxed them last week. Was it 41-7?
Cal Poly's horrible though. They lost to San Diego.
True.
Well, and they're both coming off a bye, so it was 2 weeks ago. So the
ago.
travel might not be that much of an issue considering they had a bye week.
Very true. Okay. Still, I think it's too many points, so I'm gonna go Syracuse. All right, Stanford. God, it's the S on the helmet that's fucking with me. I'm only half a beer deep.
Yeah, here's Patty C on today's podcast.
Well, I don't get.
Wait till this thing gets rolling.
NC Nick, what are you doing here?
You know, I'm kind of buying into Syracuse and Kyle Honda McCord and Gadsden and that other receiver they got, Trebor Pena. Speaking of Hispanic last names, LaQuint Allen, the running back. I think Syracuse has something going now. The leadership under McCord, I didn't see him that fiery on the Ohio State sideline. I kind of like what I'm seeing so far. I'm going to take Syracuse here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Q's actually, you know what? Let's should we bet this? Let's bet this. Dick Gersberger in the chat saying he loves the over in the game as well. Shout out to Dick.
You know what? I love to do a teaser with this because I think Syracuse wins. I don't feel that great. They win by more than a touchdown. If you tease this down with something else, you know, I think that makes a lot of sense.
That's fair.
Let me ask you this. Stanford pretty much hung with UCF or with TCU, who probably should have beaten UCF. So assuming all three of those teams, based on those results, are at a similar level, do you think that's fair, or do you think that's overrating Stanford? Do they not belong in that conversation with TCU?
I don't
UCF?
think they belong in that.
But probably not leaps and bounds below those teams. I think Stanford has taken a step forward from what we have seen so far. Does that seem fair? They're not the 3-9 team they were last year.
I thought they'd be a little bit better in that TCU game. When I watched that TCU game, I was convinced that maybe they're not.
You think they dressed that score up a little?
I just think TCU was flat, and as Daniel's saying, TCU outgained Stanford like 2.5 times. That's what I'm saying. Like I Q's minus the points. Look, there's only 3 college football games on Friday, and there's some CFL action. So I mean, you got 5 football.
Might
games.
end up betting it. Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. All right.
McCord has looked great.
Give me Syracuse minus the points. See you in victory lane. All right. I'm gonna lock up all these Friday games. I'm just gonna be honest with you. With like these weeknight games, I'm betting them. All right. So when I see the Fighting Illini heading to Lincoln, Nebraska laying 8, the over under at 42.5. It's a series that goes back to 1892. Give me Illinois and lock this thing up. Let me tell you something. Dylan Raiola, he's playing good as a freshman, sure. But Northern Iowa's an FCS. UTEP lost to an FCS in Southern Utah. Colorado, it wasn't him that beat Colorado. It was Nebraska's D-line. If anything, the one touchdown he threw should have been a pick 6. So I think Illinois has a much better defense. I think this is the best defense you'll see. Brett Bielema, defensive guy. And I also think Illinois' offense is the best, like the most complete offense they will have seen all year. I think the Illini not only are going to cover, I think they're alive to win this thing. So sprinkle a little bit on that money line. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I definitely like Illinois here. You're right. I mean, their defense has only given up 16.3 points per game so far, and they're forcing 3 turnovers per game. So this will definitely be the toughest test Raiola's faced so far. Yeah, I mean, both teams are 3-0 ATS. Both teams maybe are looking a little bit better than expected. I think Nebraska's getting a little extra love just because of the Colorado win. And Illinois is just a completely opposite football team than Colorado. So I will take the points here. You know what? I wasn't planning on locking it up, but to your point, I mean, it's Friday night. What else are we going to do?
Let's have some fun. The drinks will be flowing.
Do you think the home field advantage on Friday night, prime time, will make a difference? Do you think Nebraska gets a boost out of that?
I mean, if so, you can still cover this. This is going to be a close game. I just don't believe Nebraska is going to be able to move the ball on this defense very well. Now, maybe Illinois struggles with Nebraska's defense. What's that?
Yeah, but usually defense in a strong run game travels well. So I think it travels well enough to at least cover.
Yeah, I mean, I think Altmaier's been playing well enough too that Illinois is scoring at a higher clip than they have in previous years.
Look what you're getting here. You're getting a team that, to me, you got the more experienced quarterback, right? You got kind of defenses at a wash. I think Illinois' offense is a lot better than Nebraska's. I think Zachary Franklin. I think some of those guys. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. Now, the home edge, okay, Nebraska, but more than a touchdown. What am I missing here? This should be like a 3-point spread.
It does seem like a lot. I mean, Nebraska, to their credit, has wiped the walls with everyone they've played. But granted, UTEP, like you said, and Northern Illinois, doesn't tell us too much.
Northern Iowa
or Northern Iowa.
Illinois is undefeated.
Yeah,
right?
true. I will say the Colorado win looks a little bit better. I mean, look,
but still, that game wasn't their offense.
North
really.
Dakota State, respectable.
I would say it was Nebraska's defense.
Whatever it was, they were whooping their ass by 28 at halftime.
It wasn't the offense though.
I don't care what it was. If your defense is scoring the points for you,
sure.
Then,
but my point is that that's going up against Colorado, a very predictable offense.
In Colorado's,
yes,
it's still been a prolific offense in its other two games against Northern Illinois,
not running the
against North Dakota State, and
not running the ball.
Okay, so you're suggesting then that Colorado not an impressive win for Nebraska, and
no, I'm saying that they're a pretty easy matchup. You know what they're going to do. Illinois is balanced.
Illinois is a lot more balanced. That's true. I do think Illinois probably has an offense that's a lot harder to stop. If you try and sell out to stop one thing, it's not going to work out for you, which they probably were able to do against Colorado fairly easily. I don't know. I'm rolling with you. I'm with Illinois.
Lock? Coming with us?
I'll roll with you. It's triple. I want to have some fun.
Hey, what do you know?
There we go. Folks.
You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
We got a triple lock. The Illini plus 7.5, 8, whatever you can get. Whatever you can get. Shop to your drop, folks. Last game on the Friday slate, which means I will bet it. You know, San Jose State's heading into Pullman. Yeah. Undefeated Ken Niumatalolo. Just give him the national championship now. This is on the C-Dub, by the way. After you catch Buffy, you get some primetime college football. Look, Washington State's coming off the Apple Cup. I see why this line went from 14 to 12 because you're thinking it's a sleepy spot. But I got news for you, folks. Washington State and John Mateer are some dogs.
Mateer leads the conference I guess it's a 2-team conference, but leads both of those teams in that conference in rushing and passing. So he's a beast.
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you.
It's a series that goes back to the 1950s. Wazoo minus 12. Cash that thing. Cash that thing. This one is I'm going to say this is like a 34-13 type of win. Let's go. NC Nick, what are you doing here in Pullman at Martin Stadium?
Well, situationally speaking, the letdown spot is pretty obvious here for Wazoo. I definitely liked it better at 14. I mean, I think they are the better team than San Jose State. I'm not going out on a limb by saying that. I still think it's too many points. I think Washington State wins like 34-24 or something. I'll take San Jose in the points.
Wazoo's wins have all been very impressive. Obviously, stopping Portland and Texas Tech and Washington. I mean, you couldn't say they stopped Washington, but I feel like even though they only won by 5, we're firmly in control of that game. But San Jose State, 3-0 to just outright fade them by 2 touchdowns almost seems a little disrespectful to what they've done so far. But I agree that Wazoo is the letdown spot is the only thing that does scare me away. But still, I think they're a 12-point better team.
Let's go.
Barely.
That's right.
I'm not liking that though.
Positive Mike in the chat said Illinois' offense and defense are better than Nebraska. No, I did not actually. I did not say that. You are fucking lying. I said Illinois' offense is better than Nebraska's. Their defense is kind of a wash. If anything, I might lean Nebraska on the defensive side of the ball. So if you're going to state the goddamn facts. All right. And here.
Yeah. He also said,
what did he say?
He also says that your take on the game is complete garbage. That doesn't sound very positive, Mike.
Yeah.
Negative. Mike.
Well, look, I mean, more experienced quarterback, better offense is in Champaign. The better offense is in Champaign. The better defense is in Lincoln, and their fake sellout record can continue on. All right, let's go. He says I suck balls, bro. That's fantastic work there. Fantastic work there.
Sick burn.
Oh, buddy. We welcome you though. Please come back, talk shit, or continue talking shit. This is it's a free look. We don't 86 anybody here, right? Maybe Patty C, but I'm saying
only Colby's been 86 from these grounds.
That's true. I have been 86 to a few places in my day.
The Rose Bowl being one.
Rose Bowl. I am 86 from the Rose Bowl. All right. So if Nebraska goes to play UCLA, you got that on me. All right. New Big Ten battle. They got me on a list too. Like he wrote it on like loose leaf paper too. It's like,
oh, you're in the system. Your mugshot comes up every time.
He wrote down my driver's license number. Like, what the fuck? I didn't drive here, dude. What is that gonna get you? Right? Anyway, what are we doing here? Yeah, that's Friday's slate. Let's jump over to Saturdays. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em is always adding to their awesome menu. They now have first TD projections. There are a ton of ways to win with the NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, and much, much more. And I should remind folks that when we do our DFS episode, me and NC Nick do a live draft over on Underdog Fantasy for college football each and every week. So Thursday we're doing our DFS episode. Check it out, folks, because we do a live draft there, and you can join in on the fun. But Patty C, let's talk a little bit about this because actually, you know what? I'll hit NC Nick first. Joey Aguilar, higher or lower 2.5 passing touchdowns Thursday night at home against them South Alabama Jaguars.
I'll go higher. Higher might be a little chalky, but I think he can throw 3. I think there's gonna be some points scored in that game. So yeah, give me the higher.
Patty C, I'm going to give you an easy one here. Gio Lopez.
Okay.
Higher or lower half interception going up to Kid Brewer, first road start of his career. That interception's going to happen, right?
You would figure App State would be bringing the heat from a crowd standpoint. Maybe give the young guy a little scare.
Yeah, he's going to throw a pick. He's going to throw a pick. So jump on over there. Underdog Fantasy, folks. Use that promo. What's that? What'd you say, Nick?
I said love it.
Oh yeah,
I said love it.
Yeah, there we go. Frank Drebin over here. I love it. I've been swimming in raw sewage. I love it. Look, so sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right. We are back talking college ball. Saturday morning, Biff Poggi. He says, I don't need the starting quarterback. Max Brown, you get out of here. He says, I don't need the backup quarterback. You get out of here. We're on the third string quarterback with these Clits as they head into Bloomington to take on the dynasty that should be hoisting the trophy. The national Kurt Signetti. What? This guy means business.
It's a hell of a start.
I mean, that hook is scaring me a little bit here, but a third string quarterback on the road. I'll lay it with Indiana. This is 35-7 final. No, 35-3 final. Charlotte's not going to get a touchdown on that stout defense. NC Nick, what are you doing here at Bloomington?
I ended up taking the points, but I don't like it. I mean, Indiana's coming back from the West Coast. I don't think they really get up for this game. I think it's hard for them after winning their, the first Big Ten game against one of the newcomers, UCLA. So I'm going to say Charlotte covers, but I'm not going to touch this.
Patty C?
I'm curious how dominant we think Indiana really is, because 31-7 against FIU to open the season. Okay. Eye-opening, great performance, but FIU has since proven to, FAU
I'm about to say, they destroyed your Central Michigan chips. If you want to bring that up.
They did. That was impressive, but they did just get slapped around by Florida Atlantic.
True.
So, is Indiana Florida Atlantic in the other hands? And I know I just caught flack for doing a, comparative properties analysis, but that's kind of how you have to do this stuff a little bit. You can't just go out on a limb and say, this team is a completely different team than what they've shown on the field. And I will say this: Indiana has looked better every week, hanging 77 on Western Illinois, and then absolutely slapping UCLA. So if they're just that good, then 28.5 they could cover. However, I think Charlotte's better than their record indicates. I think that 1 point win against Gardner-Webb. I think Gardner-Webb is probably better than a lot of people realize. Being a JMU fan and seeing both of Charlotte and Gardner-Webb head to head, quite frankly, Gardner-Webb may be the better team, but either way, I think 28.5 is too many, especially like Nick said, coming back from that long trip to UCLA, maybe a little letdown spot. So I'll take Charlotte.
I'll fly solo here. No lock though. Shout out to Jamie Hove who goes, a healthy Rourke is a beast. Yeah, that's true. That is true. This one. And by the way, let's do a quick check on NC Nick and NC State, because they probably should have lost to a bottom 5 team in the FBS a week ago. They did find a way to get that dub, but where are you at with the Wolfpack season?
Oh, they look pretty shitty. I know I bet them last week. I know you ended up betting them also. And I mean, so I think some people are thinking La Tech might be decent. I don't think so. I just think it's NC State playing very bad football. And moving forward to this week, Grayson McCall is out. So you have a redshirt freshman's first start ever is going to be on the road at Clemson. That's a tough spot to get behind. I'm going to go with the Tigers.
Let's lock this. All right, look, this is a series that goes back to 1899, and what I think NC State's won, like, have they won 2 in a row against Clemson?
I think it might be
right.
Yeah, or at least 2 out of 3.
Well, I'm locking up Clemson minus the points. This bullshit Wolfpack out of here. Disappointment. Just a disappointment of college football for the past 50 years. All right.
You don't think that could potentially be an overreaction to?
I don't think they're any good, dude. I think we've seen them 3 times.
No, what
now.
I mean is for Clemson.
No.
They lit up App State, but then they didn't do anything against Georgia, and here we saw Kentucky.
Nah, but that's different. That was
it's
a true
lot
road
of situations.
game. True road game, man.
Yeah,
it's just completely.
Still,
different.
I just think you have such drastically different performances from one week by Clemson to the next that it's very hard to tell what the true Clemson football team is.
Honestly, this is going to be like 31-6. I don't know how many points Clemson can or NC State can score.
NC State has been that bad all year. Yeah. So, God, it's a lot of
Who's
points.
coming with me here?
I'm not locking it, but
come on.
I'll take Clemson to cover 3
touchdowns.
Colby,
Colby, very locked. Look, I got a lot of locks this week, but
I'm just being honest with my clientele. I'm going to bet every weekday game. This is the first Saturday game I'm betting.
Okay.
All right.
No, I'm not going to touch it.
All right.
I mean, for a team that lost to the other team 2 consecutive years to give them 3 touchdowns.
Hang on. We got to play this clip. Can we get the audio on this, Beanick? Because
I'm gonna tell you, I am a big YouTube TV guy now. All right, I finally figured out how to get that freaking app on my phone. It's like a act of Congress. I mean, you got to have like birth certificates and all kind of stuff to get some of these things. I mean, like I don't know all these codes from, who's your provider. I mean, it's some crazy stuff on there. But anyway, I got the YouTube TV. And man, it was awesome. I had my phone going, I had my iPad going with 4 screen, and I had the TV going. I would imagine some of y'all probably did the same thing, because it's what you do for a living, right? Like y'all gotta know what the heck's going on. I mean, we had a lot of teams playing that we're gonna play, and so that's really what I did all day. I just watched ball all day, and it was awesome.
I love how he says, first off, what's up?
A lot of teams are coming off buys, and it's the early buy. Does that affect Clemson's rhythm after they were firing on all cylinders against App State?
No, it's NC State.
Does it not just not matter?
I don't think it matters, but I'll say, like, I love how he goes, they're asking me, I don't know what the provider is. The provider is YouTube TV. But anyway,
I will say this. This stat line strikes me. I mean, Cade Klubnik had a decent stat line from a completion percentage standpoint week 1 against Georgia, 18 of 29. But last week, 24 of 26. That happens to mirror what Hudson Card did 2 weeks ago in a dominant performance by Purdue, only for the next week for them to get completely stomped by Notre Dame. So I don't know. Maybe it's just those numbers being identical that strikes me as maybe we're about to see Clemson experience something similar. Where
no, I think it's going to be more like
numbers take a drastic dip.
I think it'll be more like Nico's numbers.
I don't know about that.
When he played NC State.
Oh, when he played NC State. Oh, like 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
You think Klubnik is
I think
of a similar talent?
Garrett Riley's going to have that offense going, and I just think they're going to fuck them up, man. NC State's terrible. They look like, in my opinion, they look worse than Florida State.
It's only because NC State's so bad, but I think you're crazy given all of the history of Cade Klubnik that we've seen up to this point to think that he's going to be able to replicate a 24 or 26 performance week in, week out, and that's who Clemson's offense is. I don't think so.
I don't think NC State can score.
Yeah, well, I agree with that, so I'm taking Clemson.
Yeah. Okay. Well, bet it with me. Don't be a pussy.
No.
All right. All right. Moving along. We got a battle. Goes back to 1911. Old Louisiana classic. The Green Wave taking on the Raging Cajuns. Tulane's laying 3. I will bet this too. I'll lay the 3 with Tulane. Mike Desimero. No. Tulane's due for a win, man. They've fought hard the past 2 weeks. Lock up the Green Wave. Get in on it before this number rises. By the time Saturday comes around, before kickoff, this thing's going to be at 6. What are you doing here, Petty C?
Oh, Louisiana's been playing good ball, but yeah, Tulane, come on. Should have probably beaten K-State. It's good performance, respectable performance. If they kept getting close against Oklahoma, but could never bring it. Obviously, never take the lead, but they got it within one possession. I feel like a few times down the stretch, but Oklahoma just kept immediately pulling away. I don't think Louisiana, as well as they have played through 2 games, is going to be able to keep it with 3. That seems ridiculous. I'll lock Tulane.
Yeah, NC Nick, you coming?
Oh, it's a triple lock.
Yeah. I mean, what am I missing here? Is like their starting quarter is what's his name out?
Mensa?
Like, why is it so short? Even if so, they have Ty Thompson. No, this is hitting regardless.
Yeah.
Triple lock. Green Wave -3.
Let me ask you this though: do you think Louisiana is returning to form? What is this, year 3 or 4 for Desimero?
Yeah, I think it's year 3, same as Napier, right? And
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I mean, what gives you that belief though? A 30-point win against Grambling and a 24-point win against Kennesaw?
Just dominant wins. You can
but
only
those aren't good teams though.
Still, I mean,
I'm not buying it. Yeah,
maybe
I'm not
they're not
buying
the
it
6-6 team though that they have been, but maybe they're not like the 10-2 or whatever 11-1 team that they were.
I will say there are wins to be had in the Sun Belt West this year, but this is not Sun Belt West. This is Tulane.
Yeah,
with Pac-12.
How could you not like Tulane coming off those 2 really hard games? Darian Mensah's first ever road trip was at Oklahoma, so I think he'll be just fine at Louisiana now that he has a much tougher road trip under his belt. Yeah, Tulane breaks us wide open.
Yeah, this is an early candidate for lock of the week right here.
Let's go. Next up, the Rice Owls are heading to West Point, New York to take on Jeff Monken's bunch. A lot of people don't know Jeff Monken played wide receiver at Millikan University with Jeff Query, Tackle Bowl legend. Army's lay at 5. I'm laying the 5. The only thing that scares me is Army just like will go on these drives that are like 17 minutes. So it's like it could still be a 3-point game and they dominate. But I will lay the 5 with Army. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Rice doesn't look right, and I know I've been a Rice backer the last couple of years. I'm off the bus. I'm going Army here. I mean, look at Rice's 2 games against FBS opponents. They looked bad against Sam Houston State, and who was the second one? Against Houston.
Yeah,
I think Army rolls at home here. I'm surprised the line fell from -6 to -5, but I'm all over the Black Knights. I'll lock this one up. I think Patty C's probably with me. Are you not?
Oh, I want to, and I just want to think about it a little more. I mean, let's talk about.
Oh my goodness!
What's
think while you drink, Patty C.
What's the deal with DJ Warner? Why is he not performing? Was he hurt? Only 21 attempts against Houston last week, but not coming out the gates and performing like we thought he would. 227 yards, 189 yards, and last week 50 yards passing on 21 attempts. That ain't getting it done.
Against Sam Houston, he threw for 227, but 2 interceptions. All right.
Either way,
maybe it's because his dad's bad take on dome football.
That's got a lot to do with it. It's got a lot to do with it.
What is? I mean,
the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, Patty C.
Touche. Although I respect Kurt Warner for playing for the Barnstormers back in the day.
Or should I say nut, NC Nick?
The nut.
Is that a Tommy Boy line? I think that's Tommy.
No, it was Black Sheep.
No, same difference, right? Almost.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, I mean Rice's offense is kind of predicated on throwing the ball.
Well, they got this guy Dean Connors, who is a hell of a good player, but they're not going up the West Point there, Mikey Stadium. This is
Army's had a lockdown defense too. I mean, I know FAU eventually got a few points on them, but Army's defense has been stellar. Yeah, I'll lock it with
last time they played. Army won 14-7. That's exactly the type of game I see happening here.
All we need.
Let's
I just
go.
see Army has a couple that Bailey dude. He is a true threat with his legs, and he's making, I guess, a little bit better decisions with the football. And then they have some weapons on the outside. So I think Army's offense will go.
We got a double lock from NC Nick and Patty C. Army -5. Double lock. No, Dundee's just taking Army. I'm not betting this one. But we might be hearing Patty C talk a little bit right here because the JMU Dukes are heading into Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Take on these Tar Heels. North Carolina's laying 10.5. Over under set of 47.5. Series goes back to 2007. NC Nick, you're there. I mean, I know you're not in North Carolina this very second, but how's the pulse of Chapel Hill, and do you think they can cover this 10.5 there against these Dukes?
UNC might be 3-0, but they're a phony 3-0. I mean, they had 1-score games in the third quarter with Charlotte and with North Carolina Central. I will definitely take the points with JMU here. I think this game is closer than expected, even in a rebuilding season for the JMU Dukes.
I'm going to agree, although I think North Carolina has shown against Charlotte the potential to explode offensively late in the game. Obviously, you mentioned it was close in the third, but ended up throttling them by like 18, 38-20, I think was the final. But JMU also kind of did the same thing, pulled away toward the end. I think both were counterfeit. I don't think either of these teams is that good. I think JMU does have an ability to fight, and they're a second half team. So North Carolina pulling away might not happen. But the bye might help a little bit. But so I'll take JMU, but I don't feel super confident. I mean, UNC still has the ability to explode. So JMU has to play some defense.
No, North Carolina minus the points. JMU got fortunate against Charlotte. They got very fortunate. Gardner Webb was at the 10-yard line. Carolina, 28-14, gets it done. How you like that? Next up, Villanova taking on the Terps of Maryland. College Park series goes back to 1970. Maryland's laying 19. The over/under set of 43.5. Give me them Wildcats, man. Look, they're a really good FCS. Maryland coming off a rivalry win, letdown spot. They can stay within 19.5.
What has Villanova done so far?
They're top 10 in the FCS.
Okay, 3-0.
Beat Youngstown.
Squeaked by Towson last week.
Towson's good
at home, so another Maryland competitor there. No, if you're beating Towson by 1 at home, you're probably not coming close to Maryland, who probably should be 3-0 themselves. Although I will say, last week against UVA, they were fortunate UVA didn't take advantage of the opportunities that were right in front of them, namely 2 red zone trips. But I don't know. I'm going to take Maryland. 19.5 though, it's so much. But against Villanova, who's 3-0? No, I'll go Nova. I'll go Nova with you.
NC Nick?
I'll disagree with you guys and go Maryland. I mean, Loxley, one thing he's been able to do is kind of beat and dominate the inferior teams. He struggles against the teams at the same level or higher. So I think Maryland runs away with this.
You might be right.
Folks, look, I want to talk more, but I want to let you know before we do that the college football experience is brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS. Yes, BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. And you can bet anywhere. Don't get distracted by that title. BetUS, is available at a ton of locations, including internationally. BetUS has just launched an all-new live betting experience. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency. Get lightning fast payouts. All that good stuff, as I alluded to. You jump on over there. Look, we're going to preview every game on this slate. So I'm just going to go ahead and say you jump on over to I host the CFL gambling podcast Friday night bonus play for you. I personally think that the Hamilton Ticats are going to pull the upset against those Toronto Argonauts. All right, in Ontario there. So jump on over there and take them Hamilton Ticats with Bo Levi Mitchell, former June Jones quarterback at SMU. So use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Yes, 1, 2, and 3. Are you kidding me? Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. Look, Rhythm AI had a great NFL week 2, 22.5% ROI on NFL spread bets and a 44.3% ROI on NFL moneyline bets. So what are you doing? Get on over there. You can copy one of the top performing models, from the leaderboard and just sit back and cash in, or you can build your own. Either way, Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. It has a slew of stats, research, trend analysis to give you an even more betting insight there for you. So claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, we are back talking week 4 action, and we got a quite hilarious game going on in Stark Vegas. The Gators, Gator are laying 6 in Stark Vegas. Mississippi State just got their ass whooped by Toledo. Series goes back to 1923. I had a hard time with this one, man. There's talk that Napier almost got fired today. They look like they quit. But Mississippi State's terrible. Give me the home team and the points. Don't bet this game. I guess the home team and the points.
This is an easy play to me.
What's that?
Florida is a far better team than their record indicates.
Really?
Yes, they got slapped by Miami, but Miami looks championship level, and they kept it kind of close in the first half against Miami. And then yes, they dressed it up a little bit after being
a little bit.
I mean, a lot.
They're down 20-0
at halftime. Yeah. Okay, so they dressed it up a lot against Texas A&M, but still, Mertz looked okay, and Lagway brings in a different element. Even though he lost 20 yards rushing, I thought that was.
But I'm saying, like, they just talked about him potentially being fired on Monday. Like,
yeah,
what's the buy-in?
That can hurt, but I think for a game like this, you have to go all in. This is your last chance, so I think he's probably super dialed in. Maybe he can fire the players up too.
I also think you have this going on. You have players considering redshirting, sitting out the rest of the year and redshirting.
Yeah.
This is kind of a pivotal game. This is game 4. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't have strong conviction like Mississippi State's going to win the game. Both look like shit to me.
Mississippi State got annihilated by Toledo last week. But then again, Florida's win over Stanford lost to West Georgia, who's what, Division II?
Yeah, that just jumped up. That's what I'm saying.
It is very hard to figure out who's who in this game. But I think Mississippi State is just so bad that you got to lean Florida.
I think Florida could win the game, but I just think got to go with the home team. Nick, what are you doing here?
I tend to agree with Colby. Might as well take the points. I mean, Mississippi State may not be a good football team, but at least they haven't quit on a first-year head coach. Florida might be throwing in the towel. So why pick them in a road spot in a game that they don't care about? I'm going to go Mississippi State, but yeah, I think you are pretty crazy if you actually bet this one.
Let's go. Shout out to Rom in the chat. All right, let's go. Yeah, Mississippi State is beat up. I don't know. This is a hilarious game to me. This is one that's just hilarious because, the only thing better would be if they were going to fire Lebby and you had 2 coaches that were just battling for who's going to get fired first. But I guess look, if they go Lagway, this would be his first road start. I'll take the home team, the loud crowd with the cowbells, but I don't feel great about this play.
I will say this, Mississippi State hanging against Arizona State. It probably maybe if Toledo is just really that good, or
they might have just came out flat knowing Florida was on deck.
That could be.
Yeah.
You guys might have flipped me. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. I'll go Mississippi State.
I think tide turning. See, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
Moving along. This game dates back to 2004, where Marshall almost won outright, by the way, when they played that thing. Marshall's catching 40.5 at the Horseshoe, total at 51.5. This game kind of sucks, but give me the points, Nick.
It does suck, but I'm gonna lay the points. I think Ohio State's I think they're in the 50s, and Marshall's probably around 10. So 52-10, Buckeyes cover.
That makes sense. Western Michigan and Akron haven't been particularly good, so maybe Ohio State has a little bit tougher of a time with Marshall.
We talk about Ohio State's non-con: Western Michigan, Akron, and Marshall.
I'd also argue that Western Michigan is probably just as good as Marshall.
I think Western Michigan's better than Marshall this year.
Okay.
But
So
Marshall
Ohio
is
State's-
coming off a bye. Got the focus.
I think Marshall has shown more potential with Huff, over the recent years. So, and obviously upset Notre Dame. How many years ago?
2
or 3 years
Yeah,
ago. So,
maybe 2 or
they
3.
have that. Obviously Ohio State probably not on a different level than Notre Dame, even though they played last year and it was pretty damn close. But still, Marshall might be able to keep it close. But Ohio State's offense has been humming, so I'll take Ohio State. The over/under is 51.
Yeah, and a half.
I think you got to roll over on that.
Yeah,
right?
I think you take the over on that because Marshall's going to get, I don't know, a couple Kakanimi scores. You know what I mean?
I get 10, 14
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, I think the over is actually the best play. If you're looking to bet this game, if you're hell bet, if you're going to this game and you're like, I got to have action on it, I think that's the best bet you could do is the over 51.5.
I agree.
Next up, we got a little Big 12 showdown here. Series goes back to 1957. The Houston Cougars, Willie Fritz. You know what's been great is watching them week in, week out because they are getting better with every given week. They head to Nippert Stadium, legendary Nippert Stadium. Cincinnati's laid 3.5, over/under set at 47.5. Wrong team favored. Houston's going to go in there and get the dub. No luck. But I do think like Houston's playing a lot better than week 1. And I think that makes this game kind of a 50-50 game. NC Nick, what are you doing here at Nippert?
Was Cincinnati a triple lock last week? I know Colby and I were in it. I think Patty rode with us too, right?
It was.
Ah, well, I hope. What's his name? Positive Mike was betting on Cincinnati last week. But this week I'm going to flip it. I think anything more than a field goal is too much here. I just can't buy into what Cincinnati is week in, week out. The numbers come down a little bit. It opened up at like 5.5, 6-ish. So not surprised to see it drop a little bit. But like I said, anything more than a field goal is too much. I'll go Houston.
Patty C, what are you doing here with your boys?
Mike Houston dominated Towson week 1 in the first half. Or not Mike Houston, Scott Satterfield. And then dominated Pittsburgh in the first half. Last week, kind of escaped a little bit. I guess they actually pulled away. That game was pretty close at halftime, and Cincinnati pulled away. So that throws I do think he's more of a first half coach. I don't know if Satterfield makes great adjustments. So I think Houston probably closes the gap. I think you're right. Wrong team favorite. So Houston even at Nippert.
Look at that honesty from a Cincinnati Bearcat fan.
They just haven't been that good, and I still don't trust Satterfield. And I think you're right. Houston is getting better, and their 2 losses, UNLV and Oklahoma, don't look that bad right now.
All right, let's continue on. More Big 12 action. West Virginia. I mean, we didn't talk enough about that on the reaction show. Is Neil Brown on the hot seat? You blow a 10-point lead with 3 minutes left. And, now you're what? What's his record? I think 1-3, is it?
1-2.
1-2 against Pitt.
I thought you meant this year.
No, I'm talking about against Pitt. That was a brutal loss, man. Kansas is catching 2.5. I'm going to ride with the Jayhawks. I think Kansas creates more big plays. This is a series that goes back to 1941, but I know Kansas. I took the under on Kansas. I think it's looking pretty good, but I still say UNLV kind of lucked their way into that win last week. That fumble, just all the stuff going on. I know Jalen Daniels has not looked good.
He didn't play well.
He did not. But I also think West Virginia can't create big plays. And I think against now maybe they can against Kansas' defense, but I don't know. I just feel like Leipold, they were right there to beat Illinois too. I think they're better than 1-2. I think they go to Morgantown, get the dub. Nick? you still with us, Nick?
Well, it is a big game.
Yeah.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Who you going with?
It is a big game with both teams 1 and 2. I'm going with West Virginia. Yeah, Jalen Daniels is right now. He's under 55% completion percentage, and he has 3 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And you're going to take him on the road? I don't think so. I think West Virginia is a little bit closer to turning it around than Kansas right now. I'm going to lock up the Mountaineers.
Woo! I did not see this one coming. That's a Nick. Lock it up. The Mountaineers.
Garrett Green hasn't been necessarily on fire himself.
I was about to say, as much as you're giving, Jalen Daniels a hard time, which he deserves that. If you throw out the FCS game, Garrett Green threw for $161 against Penn State and 210, 16 of 30, 210, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, just 53% against Pitt. And Pitt's defense, I didn't think was great coming into the year. I think.
You think West Virginia's going to lose 2 straight? Do you think West Virginia's going to lose 2 straight home games to FBS teams?
I do. I think Kansas, like one of the things, West Virginia's offense does not create enough big plays for me, and that I just think Kansas will find big plays eventually. So I think Kansas wins in a close one.
I don't know. It was a pretty nice touchdown in the corner of the end zone to go up 10.
That was.
It looked all right. I'll say I do think Kansas is the slightly better team, especially if Jalen Daniels starts playing up to his potential. But going on the road to Morgantown, I got to roll West Virginia here, and I still need Jalen Daniels to show it. And I think maybe Kotelnicki not being there is still something they're figuring out.
That's fair. Jeff Grimes, not the same as Andy Kotelnicki.
Until we see it from them, maybe it's better to hold off on betting Kansas.
Oh, I'm not betting Kansas. I'm just taking Kansas. Let's go. Next up, little battle of the cats. Shout out to that old Ohio University logo. NC Nick, I know you said you're very fond of that logo. Ohio's catching 20.
Stray alley cat.
This series goes back to 1910. Ohio's catching 20 at Kentucky, and this line's already jumped up a little bit. And let me tell you, Ohio's going to cover this thing, and I think it's going to be a 1-score game. 10-minute mark, 4th quarter. Now maybe Kentucky pulls away after that. Give me the points in Ohio. I might bet this. I might bet the Bobcats plus 20. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I agree. Now, yes, playing Georgia will skew your stats a little bit, but right now Kentucky is 121st in the nation in scoring offense, 131st in passing, and only 75th in rushing. I'm supposed to lay damn near 3 touchdowns. I don't think so. I'll go Ohio to cover.
Patty?
All I got to say about Kentucky is maybe us downgrading them so much for that South Carolina game was an overreaction on our part, because if South Carolina really did deserve to beat LSU, maybe South Carolina's okay, and Kentucky.
True, but
maybe
also
LSU
lost
sucks.
Old Dominion. Yeah,
maybe LSU does suck.
Maybe we don't know anything about this college football season.
Well, we don't. Yeah. LSU kind of hung with USC, who looks great. I don't know. It's a lot. I'm all over Ohio on this. I'm all over Ohio.
Yeah. I might end up betting this. Check the pregame show Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific. Moving along. Patty, see your boys. We got an action conference game here. Ball State heading into Mount Pleasant. Central Michigan's lay at 6.5, over under 53.5. Fire up chips. I'm laying the 6.5. Going chalk here. NC Nick, what are you doing?
Do you not remember just 2 weeks ago they lost 52-16 at FIU? And you feel comfortable laying a touchdown?
Did you see what Ball State did against Miami?
Miami and FIU is a little bit different.
Same town.
Actually, last
talent.
time they played, FIU won. Look, the series goes back to 1939. This is a game the chips will get up for. Ball State. It's not going to fly. It's not going to fly there against Jimmy McElwain. All right, Patty, see what you're doing.
I'm with Patty's boys in Muncie.
I'm with the yeah.
Your Ball State Cardinals?
Give me the Cards. Yeah.
All right. Moving along. Here's a lock for me. First ever matchup. Arkansas State's catching 22.5 at Iowa State. Iowa State should never be favored by more than 3 touchdowns against anybody. I don't give a shit if they're playing the I don't give a shit if they're playing the Detroit Police Department. All right, like give me the 22.5. Lock it up.
I saw Jerry Palm has Iowa State in the playoffs. Do you think that's a misprojection?
No, I mean they could win the Big 12. They went to the Big 12 championship a couple years ago.
Possible.
Yeah.
Since when did Jerry Palm know anything about football?
Touche.
Yeah, what's he doing? Times are tough for Jerry Palm. Yeah, I think it's way too many points though, Nick. Am I crazy?
I just think it's hilarious because last week you bet against Arkansas State with about the same line at Michigan.
And Michigan is way
last
better.
week I was on Arkansas State.
Yeah.
And this week I'll be on Arkansas State again. It's almost like the week 1 game when Iowa State played North Dakota. Would they win like 21-7 or something? It was, I think.
Yeah, we covered.
You don't
there.
lay that many points with Iowa State, hands down.
You locking it with me?
Nah, I don't think so.
Fucking cowards. Patty C, you want to make some money?
I'm tempted. Arkansas State sitting there 2-1 and a 10-point loss at Michigan. They dressed it up a little bit, but still, respectable.
Come on board.
They obviously had a good enough defensive performance that got Davis Warren benched. So
come on board.
I'll lock it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Werewolves in Ames, Iowa. Let's go. All right. I feel good about that play. St. Francis, guess what? They're 1-0 against the MAC this year. Don't watch out for the red flash when you put them on the schedule because now they're heading to Ypsilanti, where Noah Beanick and his LeBaron have roared through the streets. Eastern Michigan's laying 24. Over under set at 42. This is way too many points, by the way. Like
Eastern Michigan's look pretty good.
I know, but 24 points. St. Francis beat Kent State.
Yeah.
They ain't got. I mean, they did lose to Dayton, but I'm taking the 24.
They lost to Central Connecticut, who lost 66 to who they lose? Who did Central Connecticut?
They got whooped week 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget, but I just think too many points. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I agree. I mean, almost the same thing we said with Iowa State. Eastern Michigan is one of those teams that you do not lay this many points with. Give me the FCS school.
This is close to a lock. This is close to a lock, in my opinion.
I don't know about that, man. Eastern Michigan has looked better. Look, I know Jacksonville State is sitting there at 0-3, but they're getting better to win that game, to keep it, to cover against Washington, only losing by 3 scores there. Kind of slapping UMass around. It is a lot of points. It's a lot of points. I guess I'll roll with you guys. I guess I say St. Francis.
Yeah. No locks.
Guys, can I cut in? I think
Sure.
we need Noah to give us his Michigan power rankings after, because I don't know who's first, to be honest with you.
It's Eastern. Is it Sparty? You putting Sparty first? It's a bad question to ask him right now. You're throwing. They're starting Orgy. They're starting Orgy too. So
they're gonna get slapped by USC.
Phoenix?
Yeah, it's the national champions #1. That's a title that can't be taken away. Then we're gonna go with Michigan State 2. Then we're gonna go Eastern. Western's climbed out of the basement to 4th. And
Eastern.
Fly with those Eagles. Fly with those Eagles. And Central dead last. Sticking it to him. All right. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Get on over there. Hit that like and subscribe button. Next, we're going to Philadelphia. And this stinks. This line stinks. But guess what? I'm diving into that stink, Patty C.
There you go.
Lock up Utah State -3.5 against Temple. I know I didn't hit with Coastal last week, but Utah State is going to win this game. They're going to win this game. 3.5 is too short. This should be more like 7, in my opinion. NC Nick, you coming with?
I suppose so. I mean, Utah State, they played USC and Utah back to back. So when the schedule lightens up, that offense finds its way a little bit. I'll go Utah State, but I'm not going to bet this. I'm not going to touch this game.
Let me say this. We said ourselves that Oklahoma didn't look that great against Temple. Maybe Temple deserves a little bit of credit for that. Sure, Navy beat them by about 4 touchdowns. But look, or maybe just about 4 touchdowns. But then losing to Coastal only by 8, that is pretty impressive. That is way better than I would think Temple was capable of. So even still, you got to take Utah State here.
You locking this with me?
No,
Come
I'm not touching
on,
it.
this is easy money.
You would think it is, but Utah State's gotten rolled, and the fact that Utah State,
by USC and Utah,
and Utah without Cam Rising is like fucking what? Connecticut. You know?
I just feel like 3.5. I gotta take it. And Utah State's better than what I thought they would be. You know, let's go. Let's go Aggies.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. Don't take my advice on that game. I don't know.
Well, maybe you want to touch this one then, you filthy animal.
I do want to touch this one.
The Wahoos.
Wrong team favored.
Heading to. Wait, did I fuck this up?
No, you're right. And
yeah, the Wahoos are laying 3.5 on the teal turf, Conway, South Carolina, against the Chanticleers. This game is the first ever matchup. Remember, they were supposed to play the week of that shooting that got canceled. So this is, I think, the makeup for that. But Virginia's laying 3.5. I just can't understand why. Give me the shots plus 3.5. Sprinkle that money line. I haven't bet this yet, but I just feel like Shots are the better football team. Am I wrong, Patty C?
Well, like we said, that game against Temple doesn't inspire a ton of confidence for Coastal Carolina. However, having watched UVA every week, they did dominate Richmond out the gates. That was impressive.
Richmond hasn't looked that great since.
Yeah.
But,
you can't take anything away from that. They needed a comeback against Wake. They got it though, so I do give UVA credit for that. And they blew some opportunities, but they look like such ass in the second half against Maryland. So maybe it's just an overreaction that I'm down on UVA right now. I do think their offense has the ability to explode a little bit, but they just aren't consistent enough. I want to say Calandria leads the conference in interceptions, and the shots have looked pretty good. So I think wrong team favored.
NC Nick, you're at a crossroads here. You got your beloved Atlantic Coast All Coast Conference, and then you got your shots that you get down there too often.
I'm gonna go UVA actually, in thoughts that maybe Calandria can limit the interceptions this week, because you're right, Patty C. Back-to-back games, he's throwing 2 picks in each game. We thought maybe that was just going to be his freshman season, and as a sophomore, he would start limiting those turnovers. But he look, he's a swashbuckler. Okay, he is. He's almost like the mascot for UVA.
That's
so
right.
Maybe but I think against Coastal, against the G5 opponent, maybe he plays a clean game and UVA wins by 7.
Here's the thing: is I just think Coastal is going to put pressure on UVA to keep up offensively. And that's when UVA gets into a shootout, that's when Calandria starts making mistakes. If UVA is in control, he can play disciplined football and he doesn't start making these dumb, crazy plays. He makes great plays, but when he starts doing that, the interception's coming. So I think Coastal, I don't know though. I don't have a great feel for it. I'm not locking him.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Jamie Hove saying, are we accounting for the Myrtle Beach hangover? Get the guys down there, get these UVA private school pussies with these wannabes down there having a few Smirnoff ices.
Just drunk under the table the night before.
Meet you under the
boardwalk. What's not in Charlottesville? Well, there's a couple things not in Charlottesville. Sports bars, one, but also no strip clubs in Charlottesville. There's a lot in Myrtle Beach.
No fans in Charlottesville either, apparently.
It's true. That's a good point.
Shout out to College Football Campus Tour, who was at the game and apparently
reported back saying, "What the hell is that?" As a rivalry game, it was. He goes, I went there. He had been to Scott Stadium before, but he went, I think, during COVID. And now he was like, I want to go back when they actually have fans. And he went there and he's like, wait, are we still at COVID? Are they still doing COVID? They might still be doing COVID down there. I don't know.
Michael Barker sees the positive in everything, but if you can't find the positive in that game, sorry, UVA. You got to figure it out.
The chat was also asking if I did lock Utah State against Temple. We're going to ride with that. Moving along. Eastern Washington. Man, they've scored some big wins before over the FBS. They're catching 9.5 in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. The Wolfpack got blanked a week ago.
Surprising after how
what's
they
crazy
had
is
played.
when I was watching, I feel like they got in the scoring position a couple times, but they just couldn't get it going. The series goes back to 1984. I like this game. This could be a good one. Eastern Washington looked all right, but then they fell asleep against the Drake Bulldogs as they came into town and upset them as heavy dogs. I'm going to take Nevada minus the points. I'm buying into what Jeff Choate's doing. I think they get this thing done. Give me like a 31-14 final, 31-17 final, something like that. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I guess I tend to agree with you. What's your guy's name? The wide receiver, Branham. I think he has a big game. Probably goes over 100. Nevada wins and covers.
Cortez Braham. Yeah, get on over there. Check him out. He's a baller. Patty C, what are you doing here in Reno?
Yeah, Nevada, I want to say their close losses are what are probably most impressive. Although the win over Troy, respectable too. But losing close against SMU and Georgia Southern, even though both of them had to come to Nevada. Great scheduling by the athletic director, getting these teams to come to them. Getting slapped by Minnesota worries me a little bit, but Eastern Washington isn't the team they've traditionally been. So I think Nevada covers 9.5 fairly easily. Tempted to lock, but I'll refrain.
All right, moving forward. Maybe you want to lock this, Patty C, because Rich Rod and Jacksonville State are at home. The series goes back to 1937 as the Southern Miss Golden Eagles fly into town. Southern Miss has looked like dog shit so far this season. I foolishly took them plus 12 points. They did. They were up 14-0, and I was ready to. I almost texted you guys saying, "Fucking idiots," and then they got destroyed the rest of the game.
That was the South Florida game, right?
Yeah, they're up 14-0 early.
Yeah, I bet South Florida, and I remember the chat last week. I forget who it was saying South Florida was the most public pick of the day. And I said, look, sometimes the public wins too. So. Yeah, I mean, ride Southern Miss at your own peril.
Yeah, and they have their quarterback's dinged up. I don't know who's going to get the start, but I will take Jacksonville State. I know that they were both kind of dinged up, I thought, but Jacksonville State -5. I will ride with Rich Rod to get his first dub of the season.
I think he's figured it out just in time for conference play. I think Jacksonville State, Tyler Huff, 4th in the conference in passing yards and rushing yards. So I think he's finally got his guy, and that's without playing really the first half of the first game. So
Tyler Huff, a dog in the FCS with Furman last year. Took him to the playoffs, lost to Missoula in a close game.
Tyler Huff looking like the guy. I think the offense will start to go because, again, what they did against Eastern Michigan last week was impressive, even in a double overtime losing effort. So
NC Nick, what are you doing here?
With all that said, I'm gonna go Southern Miss. I don't think Jacksonville State should be favored by 5 points over anybody right now. Give me the points.
All right, there we go. Moving along. Oh, what could go wrong? The MAC heading into the Golden Dome in a series that goes back to 1909. Yes, Miami, Ohio. The Redskins heading in to take on the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame's laying 28. I will take Miami, Ohio plus the points. I think Miami, Ohio's defense is much better than Purdue's. They stay within this number, but Notre Dame wins. Nick?
Agreed. Don't fade the MAC this year. The MAC came to play. 2024 is the year of MACtion, and Miami, Ohio will cover.
Yeah, I think the rebound from the disappointing loss to Northern Illinois, Notre Dame went out and got its frustrations out. I think they come back down to earth a little bit this week. And Miami, Ohio's pretty good. Brett Gabbert throwing some interceptions that needs to stop. That could be the difference. But I think Miami, Ohio is easily good enough to cover 28.
Yeah. Look, folks, before we get to the next game, I want you to say, like, or I want you to know, if you're listening to this on the audio side, make sure you check out the B side. If you're on YouTube, stay put right there. We're just gonna pause as we switch episodes here. Go to the B side on the college football experience. Make sure you subscribe, and don't forget that Saturday morning we will be a live pregame show, 8 a.m. Pacific. But in the meantime, Friday we got an FCS show covering Week 4 FCS. Thursday we got the DFS slate, and at the same time the Moneyline Dogs with the college football bombs down under with CJ Sullivan. So buckle up, folks, and we got bracketology with Moneyline Mac tomorrow night. So check out all of that on the college football experience. All right, we are back on the college football experience, and hey, NC Nick's back too. He's got Best Western's internet is You do have nice artwork behind you though. I see like piano keys. Gotta love that.
Airplanes.
Like they call NC Nick Crazy Fingers.
I told us Hilton.
Yeah.
I told the Hilton, I was like, you better have some fire artwork above my bed, or I'm not staying here. I'm going to go to Marriott.
I think you asked for a piano because he's been.
Maybe I should have asked for better internet instead.
You've been known to play a tune or two on the piano. You asked for a piano, and they're like, "Yeah, we got a piano for you. Don't worry about that."
Liberace Dent over here.
Look, folks, if you're tuning in right now, go listen to the A side. We went through pretty much all the games, up to noon 30. We're in the middle of the noon 30 slate Pacific time, and now we jump over to series that goes back to 1948, but it's a conference game now. The Trojan men of Southern California are heading into the big house to take on the Michigan Wolverines. USC is laying 5.5 or 6. Shop around. Alex Orji getting the start. He threw a nice cool. He threw for a cool 4 passes last week. I'm taking USC minus the points, but I am worried. Like someone said in the chat earlier, it seems like every person I talked to is on USC, but I will take USC minus the points because I think they're going to bottle up that defense, make Orji pass the ball, which I think he clearly has a weakness at. And I think USC is going to win this game. I think because here's the thing: Michigan's defense is fantastic, but Lincoln Riley's going to find ways to put some points up. They'll get like 28 or 31 or something. I don't know that Michigan
get that many.
I think they can.
How much is Michigan?
Are they that fantastic?
I mean, I think
they're on the field the whole game.
I feel like, USC only got what against LSU, like 20, 23, something like that. I don't know that USC's offense is necessarily built to dominate athletic defenses.
They got 27 against LSU.
Okay. So
they also missed a 16-yard field goal in that game. All right, so they would have scored 30 in that game.
Mike Houston will be recruiting that kicker.
Yeah, Mike Houston is available. Go get him. I just can't take Michigan here. They look too shitty on offense.
Yeah, they have no answers. And if you're going to your backup because you have no answers, and you're playing your hardest opponent, well, I don't know. Texas is their hardest opponent, but Texas was downright way better than Michigan. I don't think USC is going to be that dominant, but enough to cover a touchdown.
Yeah, I just can't. I know, Beanick, you're a Michigan man. You're a Wolverine at heart.
Yeah, if you want the one positive thing about the QB change, I think it's the second best quarterback. And I don't know if best is a light term for it, but I don't think he's better than Warren. But Warren being the better quarterback actually hurt this offense from a systematic standpoint. Throwing the ball around and being a little bit reckless, turning it over, was not helping the team. And that's ultimately what cost him the job. And now you're going to more of the run-centric all the time offense. And now you have something else to worry about with the running quarterback, but he's not a passing quarterback. But our receivers aren't really studs on the outside anyways. It's a lot of 2-yard routes and not much going downfield. The one thing that you could say, hey, this is a very veteran Michigan defense with a new defensive coordinator that's pretty aggressive against the Miller Moss that has never played a road game. That's the only positive here.
True, but here's the part, man, and this is why, and shout out to Noah Beanick. USC's rush defense is top 50 in the nation right now, and LSU's offensive line is really good. So Michigan doesn't have LSU's offensive line. I think they're going to load the box. Michigan's going to have to pass to beat them.
Michigan had a solid offensive line.
But it's still decent, but it's new faces. It's not LSU's. Is my point.
Yeah.
That's why I will take Southern Cal to cover this one. NC Nick, what are you doing? Is he delayed? Nick?
I got a little delay.
No, I mean, I do think that starting Orji was the right move. Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you're a little bit delayed, but fire away.
I think starting Orji was the right move, but I got cute and picked Michigan against Texas. I'm not going to do it again. They haven't showed me enough offensively, and USC is going to score some points. I will take the Trojans. I'm going to bet it too. So let me lock up USC.
I'll join you on this one.
Yeah, I'll lock it up.
Oh, triple lock. See, this is my fear, though. Every damn person is on.
No, I mean, look, I saw some of Alex Orji's high school highlights. The guy has a cannon, can fling the ball down the field, but all we've ever seen him do is run like wildcat stuff, So can you really plan on that offense?
He didn't win the job in the offseason. I can't.
He is super athletic, but like, I don't know. We just saw Lenore Sellers, who wasn't like a stellar passer, and obviously
he had some nice passes.
75-yard touchdown run against LSU. He did have another. I don't think he's a bad passer, but Alex Orji, like I said, has a live arm. It's just he just hasn't been a precision passer necessarily. The talent is there for Orji, but you just can't count on it.
Triple locks, Trojan man. Let's go. Memphis heads to Annapolis, Maryland. 2 undefeated teams. Memphis fresh off of winning a bye game at Saudi Arabia State.
This is super dangerous.
This is dangerous. One of that single T. Right now, Navy's catching 9.5. I did see a 10 out there, I think last night. So you might want to shop around. I'll take Navy. I'll take Navy in the points. I'm not going to bet it, but I think Navy might give him a game here. NC Nick, what are you doing? All right. This is going great.
That delay is serious.
Hello, Nick. Are you with us? All right.
I agree. I agree. I'm on Navy in the points here. I think it is a little bit of a letdown spot for Memphis, especially on the road. Give me the home dog.
There we go. It sped up back to us.
I think that's what happened. He was talking like 5 minutes ago. It just all came out in about a 3-second clip there.
Patty C, what are you doing here in Annapolis, Maryland?
I think this is probably a natural reaction. Given Navy, tough team to play at home, runs a tricky system that Memphis might not be prepared for, especially if they were celebrating a little bit, not taking this seriously. It's the kind of game that you get diced up in. Still, Navy hasn't been a great team lately, but they do look better this year. But I think you got to roll Navy here.
Yeah, I think you got to take Navy here. Anyway, okay, continue on in this journey. We got a little Texas battle here. Houston Christian heading into that filthy Alamo Dome, take on UTSA. UTSA's laid 35.5.
Wait, was Houston Christian the team that gave Texas Tech all they can handle?
No,
that was
Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian is a lot better than Houston Christian. Okay. But Houston Christian did beat Louisiana College 70-7 last week. Okay. Houston Christian's ass. I will lay the 35.5. This is almost lock worthy. NC Nick, what are you doing here at that filthy Alamo Dome?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Here's the get right spot for UTSA. Hopefully they start ELM, Eddie Lee Marburger, and I think they roll here.
Love me some ELM.
Eddie Lee Marburger is just sitting on a rooftop, like sniping somewhere.
What are you doing?
Look, there's just such a huge disparity between the talent levels of these teams that you can win. You can hang 70 one week and be 35-point dogs the next. It's so hard to judge. UTSA hasn't looked great, and if Houston Christian was able to hang 70 on anyone,
Louisiana College.
Yeah, I know it's impossible to take it, but UTSA has looked legitimately pretty terrible so far.
I agree, but I just feel like you got to go back to Houston Christian's matchup with SMU where they lost 59-7.
SMU's probably still considerably better than UTSA this year.
They are, but not. I still just think. I think
it's 35.5.
Yeah.
I'm going Houston Christian, buddy.
You go. HCU, Patty C.
I'll probably regret that.
Next up on the slate is we got a battle going back to 1984.
It was a fun one.
The Arkansas Razorbacks heading into Jordan-Hare Stadium and take on Hugh Strip Club Freeze and the Auburn Tigers.
Didn't the Wolf of Oakland tell us that this is really the Arkansas's main rival?
And Bobby Petrino, remember he was the OC at Auburn when he backstabbed Tommy Tuberville and tried to become the head coach. You gotta love this. You gotta love this because now you got Petrino, pulled pork Pittman against Hugh Strip Club Freeze. I think the wrong team's favored. I think Arkansas's offense is better, and I think I will. I might bet this. I just think Arkansas is a better football team than Auburn right now. I will take the Arkansas Razorbacks. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I actually thought this was one of the hardest games to pick on the whole slate, but ultimately I decided that Arkansas was the better team right now. Last time they played there in 22, Arkansas won. So let's go Razorbacks.
Let's lock this. Let's bet this game.
No, I'm not touching it.
It's pretty tempting.
It's tempting because how the fuck is Auburn favored over them?
I thought
Senator
Hank Brown.
Tuberville.
I mean, granted, Auburn wasn't playing anybody last week, and they still struggled. But Hank Brown looked solid at quarterback.
Still, New Mexico didn't Montana State have 700 yards of offense against New Mexico? I don't know. I might bet this.
Taylor Green 800 passing yards through 3 games, and really watching him last week, just kept getting around the corner on third down. You know, getting the first down.
He's gonna be a problem for Auburn.
He's a big, tall ass, like fast quarterback. I agree. He's going to be a problem. I think it's going to be close, but I think wrong team favored. Even on the road, give me Arkansas.
Oh man, I might bet this. Check the Saturday morning show. This might be one I wager on here. Kent State, what'd they lose by 1,000 last week? This series goes back to 1965. Kent State heading into Happy Valley. Penn State laying 49 points. Lay it.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be like 63-6. Nick?
Yeah, I agree. Kent State's on auto fade, and Penn State, the last game against a MAC school was very much closer than they thought. They are going to keep their foot on the gas this game.
Patty?
Drew Aller, surprisingly not in the top 10 passing leaders in the Big Ten. So I would have expected Penn State's
like 30 teams in the Big Ten now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to get there, but still, I think this is kind of without Penn, giving it much thought. Penn State should cover 49.
All right, let's continue on. Youngstown State, Pitt. Believe it or not, Youngstown's given them some fits. Believe it or not, they've played like 4 or 5 times. I feel like since 05. Youngstown won one outright, and I think they lost another one in overtime. Watch out for these Penguins here. Nice little Pennsylvania Ohio battle. Pitt laying 24. No, I'm taking Youngstown. Give me the 24. I feel like it's just a letdown spot. Pitt will win. Give me like a 41-27 final. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. What would be more Narduzzi than to beat your rival, a great comeback, last second win, pour the Gatorade, and then struggle with Youngstown State the next week? Definitely.
Al Bundy went to Youngstown State, Petty. See if you need a deeper handicap on why to take them.
I want Youngstown State to join the MAC too. By the way, that's what I'm gonna do. Forget UMass. Get Youngstown State.
Let me say this:
it's Northeast slander all day, right?
Yeah. West Virginia to Pittsburgh, according to Google Maps right now, 2 hours and 28 minutes. Youngstown to Pittsburgh, according to Google Maps, 1 hour and 7 minutes. It means
this is where Bob Huggins was lost.
That's right. It's the Bermuda Triangle of fucking backwoods roads up there.
He crushed his 16th Busch Light.
That's right.
In the parking lot of Youngstown, Ohio, and he goes, "Where the hell am I at? This doesn't look like Pittsburgh." Right? Oh man,
yeah, I'm on Youngstown to cover 4 touchdowns. Pitt is on letdown mode after 2 lucky wins in a row. So Youngstown covers 4 touchdowns.
Let's go. Folks, what to tell you, you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. The war against corporate gambling is heating up, and SGPN needs you to do your part. What is Belichick? Do your job. We are the New England Patriots. Do your job. All right. Well, do your part. All right. That's what we're saying here. If you can take just a couple seconds to rate and review the pod, and more importantly, tell a friend, because word of mouth, well, that's the heartbeat of SGPN already. So get on over there, and remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em is always adding to their awesome menu. They now have first touchdown projections. There are a ton of ways to win with the NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, CFL. They got everything over there. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boost and no sweat entries. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. So you just got to get on over there. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. NC Nick, looking again at some of the stuff on here. What do you think about? Let's see if I can get into. They only have Thursday's action. No, they have Friday's action. What about LaQuint Allen? Higher or lower? A half rushing touchdown.
You know, he hasn't been as impressive as I thought he was going to be this year. I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna say the touchdowns come through the air in Honda McCord.
Okay, Aronde Gadsden, higher or lower, half touchdown. I'll take the higher.
Higher. Higher.
Yes.
You got
Aronde Gadsden Jr. He'll be in the NFL. You can get all of that over there. UnderdogFantasy.com, folks. Promo code TCESGPN. Gracias. All right, we are back talking week 4 action. And look, what do we got here? Let's go back to the track. UCLA is heading into Baton Rouge. Last time they played, this is the game I got 86 at actually when it was in the Rose Bowl.
Slightly different environment this time around. Although actually probably just as pro LSU.
Someone was cutting charcuterie next to me.
That's right.
When I was 16 Jamesons deep, just yelling. What was I yelling again about? Will Wade, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I want to know, right? What happened to Will Wade? All right, he was cheating. You guys have been cheating for a long time. You're nothing but cheats.
Probably 1,000 times. 1,000 times.
By the way, don't knock charcuterie. I mean, you got the cheese, the meats, the olives, the crackers. It's
too much time in Tobacco Road country down there for Nick.
Yeah. He's been to a game at Keenan Memorial.
Yeah,
all right.
He's had the best charcuterie.
At Keenan Memorial, they like stuffing their olives with blue cheese in the middle of the fucking game. You know what I mean?
Sounds pretty tasty.
White Claws for days.
Look. This is Lockworthy. UCLA's got to get it destroyed. They're the worst team in the FBS.
This is very obvious.
Or Power 5. Power 5, I mean.
Do you think they're the worst?
I do. Who's worse?
NC State.
Well, there's only one team in the Power 4 that hasn't won a game yet.
Who is that?
Florida State.
Hey-o. Hey-o.
So, Saudi Arabia State against UCLA would be a nice little conference game if they could arrange that. I'm laying the points with SMU. Brian Kelly and his family are going to get it done.
LSU, not SMU.
Did I say SMU? Okay,
yeah.
LSU. Lay that. I feel decent about this one. I think this is I think it's like a 49-13 final.
Indiana just annihilated UCLA.
Let's bet this. Should we bet this?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's bet this.
This is where you dive into the stink.
Let's go.
Does it stink?
Lay the 24. No stink. Deshaun Foster doesn't even know where the hell Baton Rouge is. Doesn't know where LA is. All right. They're going to get this done. Actually, I think he did know where LA is. He was, we're in Los Angeles. All right. But anyway, Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm going to take LSU, but God damn it. I bet them against USC. I bet them against South Carolina. I'm tired of losing money on LSU, so I'm going to lay off. But I don't see how you take UCLA going into Death Valley. So give me LSU.
Patty?
Garrett Nussmeier is playing good ball. Second in the conference in total yards. First in the conference in passing completions. He has thrown the ball a hell of a lot. But so LSU a little pass happy. You had to figure that was going to happen under Brian Kelly a little bit. And maybe that's why they are what we expected them to be. Other old LSU teams, Les Miles, Ed Orgeron, although Ed Orgeron, let's be honest, they were pretty damn pass happy when they won the championship. But still, LSU's DNA has been to run the ball, and that allows them to be balanced and win close games. I don't know that LSU has that. Granted, this game's not going to be very close. This is the kind of game where Brian Kelly can make that offense explode on UCLA.
They discovered Caden Durham, the running back, the freshman running back last week, 5'9" freshman out of Oklahoma City. Filthy. You're going to LSU? The hell's going on with you? But anyway, he could play. Averaged 9 yards a rush, had a bunch of broken tackles a week ago. All the difference in the game.
You said he was out of where?
Oklahoma City. All right.
Where should he have gone?
Oklahoma or Oklahoma State.
All right.
But these youngsters, they got no morals. All right. I mean, sure, Baton Rouge. Maybe they had a Les Miles trip with the blondes with the big tits and the fat asses. Then I would understand it, Caden. I would understand it if that happened. If you went down there,
that's like the Bill Burr clip about Donald Sterling. Just like He probably was like progressive in his time, but he's 800 years old. Les Miles is so old that like big tits and blonde.
That's always worked as far as I know. That's
why
always
is
sold.
that a bad thing?
Yeah, he got in trouble for that because he scolded he had another woman doing the recruiting, like hiring the women to come there.
Yeah,
and apparently
she's bringing in these busters. He's like, where are the big titted blondes?
It's like, this is a simple equation. Big tits, fat ass blondes. That's what we want here.
I got 5 stars walking out the door.
No wonder why they're going to USC. You see Rebecca's nose? All right. Anyway,
we sound like geniuses over here.
I'm just LSU minus the points. That's our analysis. I got a little play for you. They had a bye week. Number 23 in the nation, Northern Illinois, the Huskies. Oh shit, my bad, Noah. My bad. They're laying 14 against Pete Lembo's Buffalo Bulls. These Buffalo Bulls aren't bad. Series goes back to 1968. It is a MACtion conference game. I'm locking up Buffalo plus 14. This is a game. Northern Illinois is going to win. It ain't a crazy money line play though. Buffalo's going to give them a game. I'm impressed with Pete Lembo, what he's doing so fast with these Bulls. Who's coming with me? NC Nick?
I was definitely on Buffalo. I mean, what's more MAC than NIU to go out, beat Notre Dame, and then lose at home their next game to Buffalo? So getting 14, I love it. Okay, let's go. I'm with you.
Fuck with the horns, you get the Bulls, Patty C.
Don't you think the bye week was extremely well placed here for Northern Illinois?
It was, but still 2 touchdowns in a MACtion game. Have you watched MACtion? Unless it's Kent State, that's the only one you say, okay, I feel comfortable laying 14.
It's a lot of points. What did Northern Illinois do in their other game? They slapped Western Illinois, so you can't take anything away from that. Did they get a little? No, they dominated. Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But I would say Buffalo has looked good enough in their other games, namely the Massachusetts game, completely throttling
future
them.
MAC game. NC Nick's upset about it.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with you. 14's a little too much, but I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah. No betting. Okay. Me and Nick double lock. Speaking of UMass,
this is a get right game right here.
I don't know. You got the real Blue Devils coming in there. Do I need to remind you that the real Blue Devils won as 24-point dogs against Florida in week 2 after losing 66-10 to Central Michigan. And then last week they turned around and beat St. Francis, who beat Kent State in the MAC. That's why I'm locking up Central Connecticut
Woo!
State. You want to not? You want more of a reason? When Don Brown came walking in to Amherst, Massachusetts, he sent Brady Olson, their quarterback. He said, "Get the fuck out of here. I want an athlete." Brady Olson starts at Central Connecticut State now. So revenge is on the mind. Give me the real Blue Devils plus more than 3 touchdowns. Let's go.
I will say this probably deserves a little bit more attention just because the regionality of this game.
No, it doesn't. It does not deserve any attention whatsoever.
Northeast football is back, Nick.
It is back right here. He's upset they're using the Blue Devils.
Yeah. He's jealous.
I only like Northeast football when it's on the FCS level, and that is why I will go with the fake Blue Devils.
You know what? I think he showed who the real Blue Devils was when then Duke got Cooper Flagg from the Northeast. Stole him out of where was he?
Central was going to get him.
Maine.
Maine. Okay.
Look, Central Connecticut State's okay with you storming the court. All right. That's
right.
all I'll say.
Right.
There's one real Blue Devils there. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Oh boy. I don't know. You flexed that win over a MAC program. However, they did get stomped by Central Michigan, who's also a MAC program. 20. It seems about right. It seems pretty accurate. Maybe the hook scares me away, so I guess I'll take Central.
Last time they played, UMass won 42-28, I believe. 26. 42-26.
All right. Central Connecticut.
That's a cover.
Program on the rise. Potentially.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
go Devils.
No Devils here. No Devils here. Devil Digest.
I'm a Catholic.
Georgia Tech is at Louisville. This is one of the better games of the week. Louisville is laying 10.5 points, Patty C. Even me, who's got Louisville in the ACC championship. I can't lay 10.5. Give me the Ramblin' Wreck plus 10.5. Give me Louisville 30-21 final. Patty C, what are you doing here?
I feel like Haynes King has been playing great ball. Louisville went down to Atlanta, was it last year?
Oh yeah,
and stole a win
at that filthy.
That was a very good
Stadium.
game, and I think Georgia Tech has improved. I do think you're right. I think Louisville is even a better team than they were last year. Starting to really buy into them, but even in Papa John's or whatever they're calling it now,
the Shack we call
the
it.
Shack. That's right. 10.5 seems just a point or two too many. So I'll go Jackets.
NC Nick, ACC specialist.
Look, here's where I think an early bye week for Louisville hurts because they played 2 cream puffs in Jacksonville State and Austin Peay. They really haven't proven anything. They've faced zero resistance. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech's actually played some good teams. I think 10.5 is ludicrous. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to lock up the Ramblin' Wreck.
NC Nick. Who is that? Who's that over there? Is that John Heisman over there talking? 10.5 points. Locking it up.
Haynes King, second in the conference in passing yards, 962 through 3 games.
Hey,
that's over 300 a game, man. That's an offense.
This is one of the better games on Saturday.
Yeah.
Who would have thought Georgia Tech's played 4 games, right?
Oh, have they played 4?
Yeah,
Never mind. Those stats are off then.
Those are awful stats then.
Wow, that's right. They haven't had their bye yet.
We got a team on the verge of a national championship. They might not ever lose again. And that is Sparky and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Series goes back to 1999. They're heading into Lubbock, Texas. They are one half of the Texas 2-step. One was in San Marcos. 2, can they go into Lubbock? What did Texas Tech score 21 points in a minute last week?
Yeah.
Patty C locked up North Texas.
That was my worst play I've ever made.
Was that lock battle? Because I was on Texas Tech. That was a lock battle.
Where did that come from? I don't think anyone expected that out of Texas Tech. Holy crap.
However, I do think Texas Tech's going to get them. Look, Desert College football is back. This is one we've been arguing for. Patty C, NC Nick still. Yeah. He still seems to be on the fence about Northeast football and Desert football. This is one that's exciting.
Yeah, unless it's coastal.
All right. I want a sandstorm at halftime.
That's right.
All right. And Texas Tech gets it done. I will lay the 3 against Sparky and Arizona State. Patty, you joining?
With Texas State, they barely escaped them last week. The barely beating Mississippi State is looking worse. The win against Wyoming is looking less impressive by the week. So you said you took Texas Tech?
I just think it's just back-to-back road, second end of a back-to-back away. Lubbock, everyone's out there getting plastered, having a good time.
I'll roll with you. I mean, they did get pretty well slapped by Wazoo. So I mean, I don't know Arizona State and Wazoo from a talent and a coaching standpoint. Who you think is? I think Wazoo is probably considerably better than Arizona State. Would you say? Or
I don't know if I could say, but I would take them to play or to win. But it's a close game.
But if it's a close game and Wazoo slapped the crap out of Texas,
but one's at Pullman.
Yeah,
and it wasn't on a back-to-back away. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like all the shit's different. That's why just reciting some of that shit doesn't always work. But
still, I'm trying to use what I have here to compare. And I mean, Arizona State we thought was awesome, but their wins are looking not quite as impressive. And Texas Tech, you know, they had the gigantic score last week against lesser competition, North Texas. But when it came down to playing an actual good Power 4 team, they kind of got housed. So it's hard to tell.
Shout out to R. Wright giving us $50.
Damn.
Look at that. Hell of a guy.
Damn.
I'm fucking all this up. I'm sorry, Noah. My bad. You got it, Noah. You got it. Shout out to Rusty Shackleford too. Any relation to Charles? Shout out to the best cappers out there. Made my first stream today. Appreciate you, brother.
Very nice. Very nice. You know what? I'm riding Sun Devils.
Okay. NC Nick, what are you doing here in Lubbock?
The Sun Devils, they've been a nice little story here. I'm going to disagree with most of the chat. I'm going to ride Texas Tech. I think they found themselves last week. They're at home again. Meanwhile, Arizona State, another road trip, like Colby said. I'm going to go Red Raiders. I'm going to lock them up again. I cashed on last week. We're going to ride the Red Raiders again. Let's go Texas Tech.
NC Nick locking up them Red Raiders. For a guy who doesn't like desert football, he's going to have his eyes glued to this one.
Scatterboo.
Bring your goggles.
Got mentioned in the chat. Second in the league, 373 rushing yards. So about 100, 120, 130 a game almost. That's getting it done.
Yeah, I mean FCS. How about these FCS transfers?
Is Texas Tech going to be able to slow
Can we
that
talk
down?
about this between Scatterboo and Desmond Reed for Pitt? You got two of the best running backs in the nation here. FCS transfers. Do I mention Cam Ward? Do I mention Shador Sanders or Travis Hunter? I mean the whole goddamn sport. The FCS.
I don't
is just
think you can
it.
really give credit to for Shador, or maybe for Shador, but certainly not for Travis Hunter, the number one prospect in the nation.
FCS is FCS. All right. Look, right now in the FCS, you have like Zach Calzada. He was a big recruit for A&M. Right? It doesn't work that way.
True.
All right. Next, we are going to Blacksburg in a series that goes back to 1920. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Oh, this is a tough one.
Are heading into Lane Stadium. Hokies are laying 3 over on a 44.5. I'm locking up the Hokies -3.
I can never tell where you stand with Virginia Tech.
I'm locking up the Hokies -3. They get it done.
In my mind, it was probably more likely that you were locking Rutgers right there.
Oh no. Arthur Satowski wears that Emmitt Smith mask. I want to fade any passing quarterback that is wearing that mask. All right. That's good for 1 interception in this game. That's all the difference. Hokies
the
at
blind
home.
spot gets them.
You want my real handicap? This is my real handicap. Rutgers averaged 7.4 yards a rush against Virginia Tech last year. 20 starters are back for Virginia Tech. That shit is going to be brought up in practice, in the film room all week. And then Rutgers has to go to a lit environment. No. Hokies get it done. Lay the 3. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, I mean, in some ways, Rutgers is kind of like Louisville. They're 2-0. They've played absolutely nobody. Played cream puffs, and but now Rutgers is on the road, so that's different than Louisville. This was at 5. I bet Rutgers +5. At +3, I'm gonna not lock this up. I'll still take Rutgers. I think they're probably just the better team. But at 3, I don't feel quite as good, so I'll just take Rutgers, but no lock.
Patty?
Kyron Drones has kind of been ass this year. He hasn't been great. I will say that Virginia Tech looked a lot better against ODU, pulling away earlier than they had against who was it the week before? God,
Vandy.
No, not Vandy. Marshall.
Marshall. Okay.
Yeah, it took a while to pull away from Marshall. They got ahead of ODU a lot earlier, so maybe they're finally finding their footing and becoming the team that we expected them to be. Quite frankly, the first half of the Vanderbilt game was so terrible, but they made a pretty damn good showing in the second half against Vandy. Now that loss looks a little worse because Vandy just lost to Georgia State. So I don't think we can really say Virginia Tech. I think they're kind of exactly what you projected them all off season, Colby, is like the team that gets caught.
True, but Rutgers on the road is like, do you really feel?
No, I don't feel good about them, but I
road?
will say that I like that Schiano is paying attention to the cover. Making sure his team gets the cover, going up 30, doing the quick no huddle game. Still 3 points.
I thought in the offseason, Colby had Rutgers winning this.
True, but I also watching them against Akron, and I know they ended up covering. And watching them against Howard, they weren't as developed as I thought they would be on the offensive side of the ball.
They have had some bullshit covers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like both games, I'm sitting there like, you know what? This team's not that good. Now defensively, they're pretty good, but remember they lost their top defensive player for the season too. So that's my logic.
I want to.
Well, we know Schiano knows the spread, so maybe they're down 5 with like 2 minutes left. He kicks a field goal for the cover.
Pulls a Narduzzi. Pulls a Narduzzi.
Let me say this: Rutgers apparently a second half team, but that is a bad thing to be when you're playing such lesser competition. Against Howard, 17 points in the first half, 27 points in the second half. After they've already won the game, they're running it up. And they're like the anti-Nick Saban. Nick Saban would score 50 in the first half and get 3 in the second half. They're lighting it up the scoreboard in the second. Against Akron, 21 points in the first half, 28 points in the second half. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against. I mean, maybe they're wearing them down with the run game over the course of the game, so that could happen against Tech. But no, Tech easily, I think, covers 3 points here.
Let's go. All right, folks. Look, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by BetUS, bet with the best of the business. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can bet anywhere. BetUS is available in a ton of locations, including internationally as well. BetUS has just launched their own new live betting experience as well. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. One thing I like is the Calgary Stampeders Friday night in the CFL. Check out the CFL Gambling Podcast as well. Use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. And Rhythm had a great NFL week too. 22.5% ROI on NFL spread bets and 44.3% ROI on money line bets. So what are you doing? Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right. So Patty, see, you weren't locking that thing, were you, huh?
I'll lock it.
I'm locking it. Let's go.
Tech has looked better. I think last week's performance is enough to give me the nod there. Do you think Shiano with the week off will be able to scheme up Tech, pretty well?
My thing is I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball. This is going to be a rock fight. And with the home crowd behind you, I trust Rutgers to make a turnover more than I do Virginia Tech.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, with the home crowd, yeah, but with drones?
So, have you seen the Greek pellet gun?
True. Yeah, it's going to be a rock fight. It's going to be an ugly-ass football game.
Double lock, though, on the Hokies. Gobble, gobble. Next up, we go to the likes of...
What is the over-under on that, by the way?
On that is
44.5.
Yeah. Take that under.
Yeah, I'd probably take the under.
Duke is heading into Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. Take Middle Tennessee. I'm gonna keep these bets going. I think Middle Tennessee is one of the worst teams in college football in the FBS. I will lock up Duke -14. And we'll see about NC Nick. And may I interest you in a Blue Devil parlay? Central Connecticut State and Duke. See you at the winner's circle, folks. NC Nick?
I'll take Duke, but
go ahead. Gosh, how are you not taking Duke? Have you seen Middle Tennessee play ball?
I said I am taking Duke. I'm just not going to bet them. Look, in each of Duke's first 3 games, they've scored exactly 26 points in each game. It's a crazy stat. Apparently, they can't score more than 26 or less. So I think Duke wins, but Duke's been kind of not really covering. I knew that UConn spread was too much. Even the first game against who they play week 1, Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they took a while to pull away. I don't feel great on the road. I'm going to take Duke, but I don't love it.
Let me tell you something. Western Kentucky was up 35-7. Middle Tennessee dressed this thing up, right? Middle Tennessee almost lost to a terrible FCS in Tennessee Tech the week before, won by 7, right? Tennessee Tech has still not won a game, by the way. But this is it's easy money. I don't know that Middle Tennessee is going to score on them. This is going to be, give me like this will be 28-6 final. Cash this thing. Patty, you coming?
Is this year 1 or 2 for Derek Mason?
1.
Year 1. Yeah, it might take a little while, especially for a defensive coach. I mean, yeah, it sounds like Duke's probably going to do what they have been doing. I think Middle Tennessee is probably worse competition than they've been playing. And Duke has some weapons. Malik Murphy obviously playing pretty well. Who's their I think their wide receiver is leading the league in
running back Star Thomas from New Mexico State's a stud.
Yeah, Jordan Moore is playing pretty well at receiver. So I'm gonna roll Duke.
Yeah, let's go. You betting this with me?
No.
You guys are cowards.
You bet probably 50% of the games on the board. We're trying to
No. If you throw in my Friday bets, because I'm betting everything because I just want to watch the games and gamble. On Saturday, I only have, what do I have right now? I have what? I have Duke. I have Virginia Tech, Central Connecticut State, Buffalo, What else? USC. I was talked into, which I haven't actually bet yet. I got to Utah State and Arkansas State.
Yeah.
And
All right,
wait,
guys,
there's
let's
one
go.
more.
Let's
Tulane. Tulane.
Okay.
Yeah. But maybe I will bet some more right now because I see some out there coming. All right. I think Utah is going to be. I haven't bet this one yet, but I think Utah is going to win this game. Cam Rising's playing. Utah heading into Stillwater. Series goes back to 1945. Utah laying 2. I just think Utah is going to get them, but maybe no bet here. But I just think Utah's better along the line of scrimmage than anyone in the Big 12, and I think Ollie Gordon will not have rushing success against them. I think Cam Rising's the better 12-year quarterback. Because remember, Alan Bowman's a 12-year quarterback too. And
what's that one tweet, like the total ages between the two quarterbacks is like 49 or something?
Yeah, 49. Yeah.
Hilarious. And then one of the things I want to key in on, Whittingham's special teams always plays a role in big games here. Watch out. All right. Give me Utah -2. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm going to go Oklahoma State. I bet Utah when they're at home. I do think they are probably slightly the better team, but is Cam Rising 100% healthy? Can he finish a game?
That's true. That's a good point.
And
Can he
if he can't finish the game, then I definitely like Oklahoma State. So I'm not going to touch this one. I'm just going to sit back, watch it, enjoy it. But I'll go Pokes.
No, that's how you lose it. If he gets injured again on another water cooler, or maybe the spray bottle. But
a hard miss.
Ow, it went in my eye. Patty C, what are you doing in Stillwater?
Alan Bowman has been throwing the ball around the field, almost 1,000 passing yards, but Ollie Gordon's run production, a little bit of a concern here. I would have expected a more balanced attack from Oklahoma State, which scares me a little bit. But I think that probably plays in Oklahoma State's favor. Not that Utah has ever had a particularly weak pass defense, but I think their strength has typically been, right up the middle, stout run defense. So if Oklahoma State isn't leaning on Ollie Gordon so much, then maybe they have a little balance, or maybe they're going to go to Ollie Gordon this game, and they've been playing possum. But I'm going to go Oklahoma State. Give me the Cowboys at home.
All right, yeah, no lock here, no lock here, but I got a lock here right next. Well. The series goes back to 1895. The Commodores of Vanderbilt are heading in to Columbia, Missouri, take on Luther Burden and company. Mizzou's laying 21. You might even be able to find 21.5 out there. Diego Pavia as a dog is when you want it. Give me Vandy +21, and I search around. You might be able to get 21.5 out there.
Now,
I'll battle you, Brian. Let's go.
Should we take Nick? Should we take Colby's opinion on Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt with a grain of salt at this point, or is he on?
What did Vanderbilt look that great? I mean, did Missouri look that great last week?
It's not that Missouri looked great, although Boston College might be okay, but it's that
because that Florida State win looks better because what?
Well, Boston College has just looked like an okay team, a solid team so far. But Vanderbilt did lose to Georgia State.
True. I mean, they're favorites. You don't take Vandy as a favorite. My mistake. I got burnt on it. Pissing Pavia though as a dog. Get the hell out of here. It's like taking Hulk Hogan as a dog.
It's 21. Yeah. The rule of life. Never take never fade Hogan as a dog.
No, 21 is way too much, dude. Missouri should not 21 better. 20 points better than anybody. All right. Except Buffalo. All right. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I tend to think it's probably, somewhere 4 to 6 points too much also. I mean, Boston College was pretty easy money against Missouri last week, even though it took a little while for them to get going. I think Vanderbilt covers this also. Let's go.
Lock? Coming with?
Nah, I don't think so. Missouri's still my boys.
Come on. Patty, what are you doing?
I think there will be a bounce back. I'll go Vandy.
Lock?
Sure.
Double lock on Vanderbilt +21. Search around too. You can get that half point. That half point might matter.
Mizzou, I mean, yeah, Boston College, you're right. They haven't, because Boston College probably should have won that game against Missouri, right?
They had their chances, man. They had their fucking chances. They right before the half, some terrible management.
I don't know if they should have won it, but
yeah, I think Missouri was the better team, but
I don't know. I think our guy Chad G in the chat says Pavia's got a UTI.
Shout out to Chad G. Next up, we're going
team
to
stats. I want to see this real quick between Boston College and Missouri. 22 first downs to 16, 440 to 298. So Missouri did perform better. So they were the better team, but it wasn't a completely dominant performance. The score is probably pretty accurate. But anyway, let's go, Vandy.
Yeah, next up, we're going to Fort Collins. Series goes back to 1963. The UTEP Miners tank coming in to take on Colorado State. I'm concerned about Jay Norvell's future in Fort Collins. They're entering a new conference. They need to get some wins.
Are they entering a new conference?
Pac-12.
Isn't that
I mean,
the
there's
same?
more money for Colorado
same conference
State.
they're in
It's
right
more
now.
money. No, they're in the Mountain West.
Yeah,
I
get your point.
you get what
I
I'm
get
saying.
your point.
Okay, they're the same.
But when they add
it's the
Memphis
same
tomorrow,
teams.
but when they add Memphis tomorrow, it'll be different. I'm laying the 9. I don't think UTEP's any good. You saw the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah get the best of them. I know Torrey Horton's not playing in this game. I'm still laying the 9. Nick,
I kind of want to lock up Colorado State here. I know they've not looked good, but they're at home.
I kind of like it too, but
yeah, I'm lock up Colorado State. Even with what's his name again? The receiver,
Torrey Horton, he's out.
Torrey Horton, yeah. Even
That's
with
a
him
big
out,
blow.
I thought Colorado State was going to be better this year. I thought they were going to be a contender in the Mountain West. I'm going to believe in my preseason, predictions and think this is a get right spot. I'll lock up Colorado State.
Whew. I like it. I might end up betting this too, especially if I'm chasing. Patty C, you coming on the Rams here?
No, I'm not. UTEP has looked okay in some games. Close loss to Southern Utah is not not a good look.
What?
But
it was like, yeah, Southern Utah
losing to a Liberty team that doesn't look as good as they had last year, obviously, but kept it within 18. Okay, and lost to Nebraska pretty bad, 33 points, but still. Colorado lost to Nebraska pretty bad, and then Colorado just went and whipped Colorado State's ass. So, look, I think UTEP may be a little closer to Colorado State. I think you're right. You got to be a little bit disappointed in Colorado State. Not so much by the Texas performance, but I was very disappointed in their performance against Colorado.
Yeah.
So maybe they do better here at home.
I think the angle for Nick's handicap that's smart, and why I think, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. I'm going to bet this. I think they're desperate. I think like this is it for Norvell. You come out with a shitty performance against UTEP, you need to beat them, and you need to beat them convincingly.
Better than a 9 point from a talent and a coaching standpoint. They're better. Maybe you're right. I'm not going to lock it, but I'll roll Colorado State.
All right, moving forward. We got the Battle of the Iron Skillet. Remember, this is coming to an end soon. Unfortunately, you filthy fucking losers can't figure this out. TCU is laying 2.5 at Gerald Ford Stadium. This game's awesome, and I have a hard time picking this one. Give me TCU minus 2.5, but I don't feel great about it. I think this is kind of a 50-50 game. It's like a classic rivalry game, but give me TCU minus 2.5. Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm gonna go SMU. Actually, I mean, it's about time Lashley made a fucking decision and picked a quarterback. So Kevin Jennings is the quarterback. Here's where a bye week helped, where the main quarterback can get all the reps with the first team. And TCU still reeling from giving up that game last week. It's at home at SMU. It's a revenge game from last year. I'm gonna go with the home team here, but it could go either way.
Patty,
God, that was about what I expected out of that TCU SMU game last week, or the BYU SMU game last week. TCU having to come to town. Do you think there's a little bit?
Well, I don't get.
Every team has got 3 letters. I mean, just fucking alphabet soup over here. Look, BYU, TCU, SMU, blah 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 blah. I do think SMU's. I don't know. I'm gonna go TCU on the road. I'm gonna go TCU.
I think they're a little bit better, but
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
Yeah, gotta have a little G-dub for this game.
And Sonny Dykes, where was Rhett Lashley before? Oh, he was the OC at SMU under Sonny Dykes. So Sonny Dykes.
Because I understand how the bastard thinks. I taught him.
I just have the perception. I don't know. I mean, Sonny Dykes probably doesn't deserve this. They're both kind of soft-ass coaches, but I think some residuals from who is it at TCU before? God,
Gary Patterson.
I still think of them as a much tougher program. So I think that carries the day.
Well, if you guys want to lock, there's one here for you. Because the purple and gold East Carolina Pirates are heading into the Flaming Libs of Liberty, Lynchburg, Virginia. ECU's catching 7. We got just Liberty. Money line on the look, ECU, okay, you fucked up with your shitty kicker, Mike Houston. But 11-1 and a playoff berth is still very much alive, and it starts right here. Give me ECU on the money line.
Absolutely delusional.
Let's go.
This is definitely your wedding song, isn't it?
It was my wedding song. NC Nick, what are you doing here with the Flaming Libs?
Look, I was fading ECU last week, but now I'm going with my North Carolina school. I think it's a good spot, a bounce back spot. Liberty hasn't looked the same this year. Liberty plays at App next week. I think this is a ball game. I think this is a very tight game. And if I'm getting 7, or I think you might be able to find a 7.5 out there, give me the Pirates to cover. Money lines in play. I just think it's going to be a very tight game. It's too many points. Let's go.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina. You don't come to East Carolina. You don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
Patty C, are you writing it?
What has happened with Jamie Chadwell's bunch that, last year they were winning by huge margins, very impressive throughout the year. Granted, not against great competition, but handling their business. This year, a little bit dicier,
They got plucked a little bit in the portal. Their best defensive lineman's at Duke. Their best guy in the secondary is at Colorado. So
they lost a receiver. They lost a receiver to a P4
to
team
LSU.
Also.
LSU.
Yeah.
So as much as they have that Falwell jerk off in the corner money, right? You know what I mean?
Cuck money.
Yeah. they're just not going to be, especially against a team like ECU. All right. Look, and I laugh at their little sober attempt at having a football game with no alcohol because the Pirate fan base is coming. All right.
Dude, I think Jake Garcia might lead the nation in interceptions.
What's an interception?
8 interceptions in 3 games. That is very bad.
He only threw 1 last week. Granted, it was a crucial one in the 4th quarter. That's why I was not worried about FC. I'm like, look, the guy's going to throw a big pick. It's coming. And sure enough, he did it.
You can't blame the pick. Blame the missed extra point and the field goal. All right. Because Garcia played well. All right. What are you doing, Patty?
I'm not throwing money line, but I'll have ECU cover.
All right. There you go. Next up, Monmouth Hawks are heading to. Look, you might talk shit about FIU, Patty C, but they're undefeated at the Pitt Bowl Stadium. So you think this little foo-foo Monmouth team that couldn't handle the Inferno rug of Eastern Washington is going to come into Pitt Bowl Stadium?
The club?
That's what I'm saying. They're not ready for this. Give me the airport -14. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'll lay the points also.
Patty?
I mean, what happened there? I felt like they were playing FAU pretty well, and FAU just put their foot on the gas and pulled away. But still, FIU has played well enough to deserve to get the cover here.
There you go.
14, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What has Monmouth done? I'd be lying if I said I knew Monmouth's body.
They're 1-2. They just beat the shit out of Maine.
Still.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, we got a barn burner at Saudi Arabia State. Ooh. How are they still favored?
Yeah.
Cal is coming into what they call this too. Oh man, woke Campbell Stadium.
What are they calling the Cal Instagram or Cal
I
memes?
forget. It's they're killing it on
the
social
Calgorithm.
Media. Yeah, Calgorithm. Calgorithm going into Tallahassee. Take on Saudi Arabia State at woke Campbell Stadium. What's gonna happen here? I can't take Florida State. Give me Cal.
Cal's going to the national
Why am I
championship.
not betting this? Because Cal is a way better team this year. But I guess is it going to be hostile? Are fans going to be there at 0-3?
No, they're not.
I don't know. I mean, usually you would think a 7 p.m. game in Tallahassee is going to be brutal, but are the fans going to show up? And if they do show up, what happens if Florida State struggles early? They're going to turn on them so quickly. So
Yeah, they'll be
if
at the bar
anything,
across the street.
And you can't read books at night. You got to bring a flashlight.
right. If anything, I think it's a good time spot for Cal because you don't want like the noon kick if you're the West Coast team coming to the East Coast. So if anything, I think it actually does Cal a favor where usually it wouldn't, but this year I think it might.
Yeah, the drunk Florida State fans at night, you let them get drunk all day. Maybe it's raining, shit down on the field, trash on the field on them.
But
seriously, the important thing here is that Florida State had a bye week last week. They came out against Memphis, and it didn't look like they improved or got better at anything.
They haven't had the lead. They haven't had the lead at any point at home yet. Boston College and Memphis came in there and led the whole game.
And remember, they brought in like 17 transfers and like 25 freshmen. Half of this team is new this year to Florida State. So where is the pride? Where's the leadership? When do all these players that got paid give up on the season? I'm taking Cal. I'm going to lock up Cal. I'm going to keep betting against Florida State until they prove me wrong. Let's go.
You know what, Nick? I will join you.
Double lock on these. On the algorithm, the algorithm. Let's go.
DJU has been getting better. He did throw 70% in game 1, but since then 50% on 42 attempts. So it's not like that was a small sample size. He's airballing the receivers a lot. And then last week 16 of 30. He needs to do a lot better. 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions on the year. Got to go.
All right, give me Cal. Got way too many bets now. You talked me into more of these bets. Can't take Saudi Arabia State.
1 touchdown pass through 3 games. Man, that hasn't panned out for him.
All right, let's move along. The Canes are heading down to Raymond James Stadium.
Kind of a fun one.
This is the hardest opponent on their schedule this far. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I think without question. Miami's laying 16.5. Kind of wish this was 17. Give me the Canes. I don't know that South Florida did look good last week, but I don't know about South Florida. Give me the Canes, Nick.
South Florida is quickly becoming one of my favorite sports programs. Remember in basketball, I was riding the hell out of them this year. They were an ATS cover machine. Last year they cashed for me. I'm sorry, last week they cashed for me. I'm gonna bet USF to keep this close. Everybody is crowning Miami already. I think this is a ball game. USF, they kept it close with Bama for the first 3 quarters. Give me South Florida and the points. Lock it up.
Woo! You swayed me. I'll take South Florida, but no lock. I'll take South Florida. Miami ain't played shit yet. Florida's defense is trash.
He says Miami has fielded some pretty decent teams in their history. This team is out to the fastest offensive scoring start of any team they've ever had. I think what's impressed everyone has been obviously Miami's offense, but what might need to be,
they have played 0 teams with FBS wins.
Yeah, or with an offense at all. Florida's the only.
But Florida hasn't beaten FBS.
Yeah,
Ball State hasn't beaten an FBS.
It's tough to give them much credit. I think this is, like you said, 100% their toughest play so far. What South Florida did against Alabama has to scare Miami a little bit. However, when I do think that Alabama kind of took advantage of South Florida being beaten, having their spirit broken late in that game and piled on the points. However, Alabama wasn't able to throw the ball with Milroe for most of that game. I don't think Miami's going to have that problem. I think Miami will start scoring early and often, and I got Miami to cover 17.
16.5, buddy.
16.5.
17, you're good.
Yeah.
All right, moving forward. Shout out to R. Wright giving us $10. Justin Wilcox is bad against winless teams.
We're getting loaded on this episode.
Yes, appreciate you, R. Wright. The Toledo Rockets. I can't believe these teams have never played before. How the fuck's that possible? You're right next to each other. I mean, I know Toledo's in the northern part of the state, but still, Toledo heading into Bowling Green, Kentucky. Letdown spot of all letdown spots. You just whooped an SEC team's ass on the road. However, I just don't think Western Kentucky's that good. Give me Toledo minus 2.5. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I agree with that angle. I'm not going to bet this. This is a kind of a tricky game, but I think Toledo's a better team. They do it again.
Patty?
Toledo was so impressive last week against Mississippi State rather. I do think, Western Kentucky beating the crap out of Middle Tennessee, maybe not as impressive as, you identify them as one of the worst teams in the FBS.
That was a lock of mine. You can say, hey, pick Dundee. You're a fucking genius. You can feel free to.
Still, okay. So Toledo against SEC competition, dominant, right? Western Kentucky against SEC competition lost to Alabama 63-0. I know what Mississippi State and Alabama are nothing alike. Still, this is a slap in the face. And now I'm locking too many games. Lock up the Rockets.
Woo. There you go, Patty C getting on that rocket ship and blasting off.
I don't know.
It's the year of action.
Boom.
All right, moving along. New Mexico State. This line's gone up, which pissed me off a little bit. And by the way, the over/under is not 16.5. I fucked it up. It's 44.5. Sam Houston State is laying 16.5.
Predicting a shutout.
They're favored by 16.5, and the over/under 16.5.
You figure it out. Nobody walks into the Bear Claw and gets a dub. New Mexico State's ass. Gosh, man, this jumped up though, man. I'm taking Sam Houston. I might bet this thing. I feel like I'm going to bet this thing. I think New Mexico State's ass. I nailed that handicap with Fresno last week. If you listen to our pregame show on Saturday, I think Sam Houston minus the points is the play. It has jumped up like 3 points though. I loved it. I was betting this thing at 13.5 or 14, 16.5. Like I could see it being 30-14 or some shit. I don't know. Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, my pick is Sam Houston. I forget if I picked him to win the CUSA or just to make the CUSA title game, but it's looking pretty good. I was definitely on their over, which is looking really good. I'm gonna take Sam Houston as well, but I don't feel comfortable enough with the rising line to bet it.
Patty?
Too many points. New Mexico State kept it relatively close against Liberty. Granted, that was at home, but this isn't a super long trip from New Mexico over to Houston. So 16.5, just too many points. Give me the Aggies.
All right. Moving along. Florida A&M Rattlers heading to Troy, Alabama. The series that goes back to 1998. Troy's laying 23.5. I actually see a 24 right now out there. If you also want to check that out, give me the Rattlers over the points regardless. No bet. Nick?
I like that. I don't think you should lay that many points with his Troy offense right now. Give me FAMU.
Yeah.
Didn't FAMU get stomped out early on? Who'd they play that? They were playing
Miami, the Hurricanes.
Yeah, okay. So that doesn't really hold much water. I'll roll FAMU.
Yeah. Let's go. Next up, got a little classic going on here up in Hartford, Connecticut at the Ranch where everyone gets twisted.
This isn't a civil conflict, is it?
No, it is not. This is a wannabe civil conflict. UConn is laying 2.5. I'm on UConn. I think they were impressive last week against Duke. I still feel pretty good about them being a 7-8 win team this year. They get it done here, and I might bet this thing. NC Nick, what are you doing here at the Wrench?
Oh shit! I mean, fade the Northeast or fade Fancher. Which one do you want to do? Give me UConn, I guess.
Patty,
I think you fade Fancher at your own risk here. I think I'm buying into Fancher a little bit. Give me FAU.
Wyoming. Good God. Never again. Never again.
Well, North Texas for me, never again. So.
Something's got to give you.
Yeah, that's right.
North Texas is laying 9 at home.
The resistible force versus the very movable object.
I guess give me Wyoming, but I'm not touching this thing. This is probably out of all the games we talked about, the one that I would touch last. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Wyoming one more time, but I damn sure is not gonna bet it.
Yeah, Patty.
I guess after last week, I got to go Wyoming here.
All right, moving along. Northwestern Washington in a Big Ten Classic. Catch the sarcasm. Established in This is goes back to 1980. Washington's laying 10. It's way too many points. There is a 10.5 out there too. Give me Northwestern and the points. Washington wins the game, but Northwestern covers. Nick?
I really don't feel good about this game either. I don't know what to expect from Northwestern in Seattle, but I tend to agree. Too many points.
Patty?
I tend to agree as well. I think Washington is, shown themselves to be, incomplete team. And Northwestern is a feisty team. When Northwestern went to the Rose Bowl in 95, who'd they play?
In the Rose Bowl, USC.
USC.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet it's going to it. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Avetta. She's going to the game. If you're going to the game, make sure you hit up. Reach out. Avetta's always fantastic.
Avetta's all over the country, man. Who travels more,
she kills
Avetta
it.
or
She's
Michael
going to
Barker?
all these basketball games, all these football games. She's killing it. She met Michael Barker.
She's the female Michael Barker.
She's killing it. Good for her. Patty, what'd you say? You're taking Washington?
No, Northwestern.
Okay. Moving along, we got a little classic going on here in Ruston, Louisiana. Tulsa heading to take on Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's laying 3.5. Wrong team favorite. Tulsa's winning this game, even though their defense is horrible. They're going to put up a lot of points. Give me the Golden Hurricane, Nick.
Lock it up. Tulsa's a better team. Like you said it. Wrong team favorite. Let's go.
No lock, but I'll give you the music. NC Nick, locking up the Golden Hurricane plus 3.5. Patty.
Tulsa King coming out.
I just watched that first episode with season 2.
How was that?
It's good. It's a fun show.
Okay. Tulsa getting rocked by Oklahoma State probably shouldn't scare you away, even at home. I do think that was probably their Super Bowl for the year, and they ended up getting destroyed. Still, they're better than 3.5 points better than Louisiana Tech. So give me the Golden Hurricane.
D Bettis says your Tulsa pick cost me money last week. I
didn't
win
bet
them
him
all.
last week.
I did.
I think Colby did, right? Yeah,
I did.
Gotcha.
Can't win them all, buddy. Dakotas Crawford, great name at Louisiana Tech. I think I still have his commercial when he stole Nebraska's money. That was fantastic. All right, we got a banger in Norman, Oklahoma.
It's a great game.
A series goes back to 1939, and I don't know if you heard Brent Venables talk today that he was on the staff at Oklahoma with Bob Stoops and Mike Leach, and they went to go recruit Achilles Smith, and Venables was like, "We gotta get Achilles Smith," and Leach goes, "What about this Heupel kid?" And Heupel came into practice, and Venables was like, "Nah, this guy can't play. He's throwing these ducks. He doesn't have arm strength." And Leach said, "I'm taking Josh Heupel." And the rest is history. They won a national championship. And by the way, Josh Heupel was fired as offensive coordinator of Oklahoma. I think Venables might have been on that staff too. I'm not sure what year he transferred over to Clemson, but maybe there's a little animosity there. Josh Heupel returning home. Tennessee's laying 7. The look-ahead line was much better than this. I'm surprised it went down to 7, to tell you the truth. This thing was like 13 or something not long ago.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems this is like the USC play. It just seems so obvious. Take Tennessee.
Tennessee, the number 2 offense from a yardage standpoint in the country. Oklahoma, number 108. Tennessee, by far the top scoring offense in the country. 64 points per game almost.
Give me the Sooners.
Wow.
They don't lose much at that stadium. Now, granted, they play Texas every year at the Cotton Bowl.
They've also had Heisman quarterbacks for years, and they don't have that with Jackson Arnold right now.
I'm just saying, between this and the Michigan USC game, I think this is the more live dog.
I could see Oklahoma hanging, but I just feel like Tennessee looks very good.
They look very good, but Kent State, NC State, and who the fuck was the FCS they played? They all like that. I get it. Tennessee looks great.
Yeah.
But give me the Sooners to cover this.
I mean, Oklahoma destroyed Temple, so that's probably similar competition. So
yeah, but
it's just the fact
Houston,
that they struggled.
Houston and Tulane are much better.
Yeah. Houston looked better. So Oklahoma actually the more proven team at this point in the season, but Tennessee looks
That's
looks
what I'm
better.
saying. Tennessee does, but to me, that's also Nico's first ever road start, right?
Big
took the words out of my mouth. Nico Ocho, first road start here. Maybe we're getting too cute with this, Colby. Is Tennessee the better team? Probably, yeah.
But doesn't Venables know exactly what Heupel wants to do? Not only did he play against him, he coached with him at Oklahoma.
I think it's a ball game. Point. I mean, this is under the lights, prime time at Oklahoma. Like you said, very tough place to play at. I think it's a close game. Give me the points.
Patty?
I think Tennessee just pulls away late. I don't know though. I could be wrong. I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be a great game.
All right. No locks. Just enjoying that one. Can Maction show up again, NC Nick, as the Bowling Green Falcons? Shout out to Moneyline Mac, says he's all over the Sooners +7. He likes Michigan over USC though. You're on your own on that one, buddy. I could see the Oklahoma one. Bowling Green, he's catching what 23.5, 24. Shop around, or there's a flat 23 too if you like A&M. I struggle with this one. I ended up going Bowling Green, but I don't like it. Give me Bowling Green in the points, but I just don't know if A&M can score that much. I think Bowling Green's defense was pretty impressive against Penn State.
I like it.
Dude.
I've already planted a flag with Bowling Green. Leffler is the man. Coach of the year in the MAC. You guys are haters. They're gonna walk in to College Station just like they walked into Happy Valley, and they're gonna give A&M a ball game. Give me the points, and I'll lock it up.
Woo!
I agree. I don't think I'm going to lock it, but I think you have to favor based on that performance against Penn State. That was not a fluke. Penn State had to battle their ass off and really coach their ass off to find a way to win that game. And look, A&M has shown some question marks. You know, they weren't particularly impressive offensively against Notre Dame, and Bowling Green. I don't know. That's a lot of points. 23.5. I'm on the Falcons.
And Colby, I know you're a big Rondé Gadsden Jr. fan, who may be the best tight end in the nation, but you know who the second best tight end in the nation might be?
Who's that?
Harold Fanon Jr. for Bowling Green. Baller.
Boom.
All these juniors. You know what I mean?
By the way, Michigan doesn't have a quarterback right now. CJ Carr is sitting there on the bench at Notre Dame. CJ.
Lloyd Carr's grandson, if you don't know, folks.
Yeah, Lloyd Carr's grandson. I say Cars belong in Detroit, and Ann Arbor's close enough to Detroit.
Cars, I get.
You like what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Come on home.
All right. What do we got? Like 5 games to put a bow on this week. I still got one more lockout there.
And I got it right here. This series goes back to 1891. PJ Fleck rode his boat to his first ever win last year against Iowa.
This is a good game,
and it was on some cockanimi bullshit.
No,
that was a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Revenge is on the mind. I'm locking up these Iowa Hawkeyes -2. I know Keegan Johnson's the wideout.
No, Keaton Johnson's the running back.
Who was I thinking that transferred the wideout that transferred? I don't know. Anyway,
They're Iowa offensive players. You don't need to know their names. It's like a service academy. It's okay.
Who am I thinking of that is that? So they had a receiver.
Caleb Johnson.
Okay, yeah. Either way, I'm impressed with this Iowa rushing attack. I know Caleb Johnson is questionable, I think. But I don't care. I just think Minnesota is not very good. And I think Iowa has their number in the Ferentz era. I think they make a point here. They're a little more creative offensively than Minnesota. I know I just said that. Give me the Hawkeyes. Nick, what are you doing here?
I completely agree, especially after the way they lost last year. Iowa is flat out the better team. Just because Minnesota whooped Nevada doesn't mean they figured things out offensively. I will bet Iowa with about the same line as I bet them against Iowa State. So they failed me there. They come through for me this time.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that Johnson's a go, according to our boy Rob Donaldson.
Very nice. To be fair, Iowa or Minnesota only lost to a pretty decent North Carolina team by 2 in week 1. Almost probably could have won.
Pretty decent. Tell that to NC Nick.
I mean, undefeated. Whether we think they're decent or not, undefeated North Carolina.
I think they're trash.
They might be trash. Yeah,
I still feel good about my under.
I still feel good about my over. All right, let's go. Especially with Florida State on the schedule. That was a guaranteed loss before.
Is it just because Iowa State's defense was that good that they ended up losing that game and the offense was shut down in the second half?
They hit a deep ball too, busted coverage. But
overall, Iowa's offense being much better this year should be scary for Minnesota and basically the rest of college football. So yeah, I'm with you, Hawkeyes.
It's a lock for me. You anyone else locking?
What is it?
Yeah,
what's the number?
I'm there with you. Lock it up.
2?
Two?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll lock it.
Triple lock there in Minneapolis, land of 10,000 lakes and all that shit. Let's go. Where's this?
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you.
Why can't I find this? Anyway, here we go. Triple lock. All right. Akron, the Zips. They need to go back to that logo. They're catching 28 at South Carolina. This is a great time to catch them. Give me the Zips plus 28. Nick?
Give me South Carolina. They're angry over last week. They come out, put it to them.
Patty?
Yeah, and they're just much better team than Akron. So yeah, give me South Carolina.
That too.
Georgia Southern's catching 36 at Ole Miss. This is too many points. It's too many points. Give me Georgia Southern. I'm locking this. Yeah, I'm locking up Georgia Southern plus 36. They're gonna move the ball. This is two assistants that used to work together. All right. So he knows how the bastard thinks. Southern's gonna score enough to stay in this game.
I think a lot of people know how
take the over too.
Ole Miss's offense works, but no one is stopping it, dude. This stat is insane. Granted, they played no one, but 692 yards a game of total offense. That's almost 700 yards of offense every fucking game they play. How can you not think?
Am I supposed to be?
Yes.
I'll give you the Razor Ramon. What are you doing, Patty? You're laying the 36?
Georgia Southern has been impressive enough for me that is just a couple points too many, but not too many. I mean, I think Ole Miss could cover that, but I mean, what, they won by 34 against Vandy or Wake. So I think Wake and Georgia Southern probably comparable. So yeah, I'll take Georgia Southern. I expect a similar result there.
Nick, what are you doing there?
More scoring.
I'm gonna take the points. I'm gonna take the points also. I think it's a hair too much, but I'm not gonna bet this. I think you're a little crazy for betting Georgia Southern.
And I'm betting the over too.
What's the number? What's the
66 and a half? It's
yeah.
gonna be like 57 to 39.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over's a good play.
ULM is heading into Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Arch Manning, not a lawn chair like Eli and Peyton. He's more like Archie. Quinn Ewers is questionable, right? Texas minus 44 and a half. I'll lay it. ULM. Sorry, General Booty. I want to back you, but it ain't gonna work out here. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Yeah, it's enough points. I mean, is Texas motivated? I think Arch Manning is probably happy to put on a show. He's probably trying to steal the job from Quinn Ewers, so that alone means Texas probably lights up the scoreboard. So yeah, I guess overall Longhorns here.
Nick,
I'll take the points. Stay away.
Is there any chance that if he lights it up, quarterback controversy
yes,
lights up there?
There's already a chance right now.
Yeah.
The Baylor Bears is the old Big 12 game. It's back on the schedule, heading to Boulder, Colorado. Prime time is laying 2.5 or no 2 flat 2. Over under set at 54.5. You know what I'm doing here? I'm impressed with this Colorado defense.
Look out, just watch him go.
I will lay the 2 with the Buffs, but I do expect this to be a game. Nick?
I'm gonna take Colorado too. Well, I'm not sure what Baylor's doing with their quarterback situation. I guess Daquan Finn's healthy, but Sawyer Robertson might play too. Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer. Give me Colorado.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, exactly. What are you doing, Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer, Patty C?
You gotta be all over Huck Finn on that one. Come on. Tom Sawyer is conservative as shit. Tom Sawyer is the Mark Stoops of fucking storybooks, 1800 storybooks.
That's good. Yeah, I can appreciate that one. What are you doing here?
Baylor, impressive enough performance going to Utah and hanging, even though they were getting smoked by Utah until Rising got hurt, but turned around and smacked Air Force at home. Tough competition here. I think Colorado got back on track, but which Colorado is going to show up? I think the Buffs get it done again. I think the Buffs are going to have a decent season. I could be fucking wrong, but
I'll say this: flying under the radar is their defense has been good. Like the Nebraska game is not on the Buffs defense. That was a pick 6 early. You know what I mean? Like they dropped another pick 6, and it ended up being a touchdown the other way. I've been impressed with the defense. Yeah.
If they're gonna have a decent season, they have to get this one because they have Baylor or the road trip to UCF on deck before the bye.
True.
But if they can get both of those, look out.
Yeah. Moving along, we got a big one going on. Chestnut Hill goes back to 1935. Michigan State catching 6.5 at Boston College. I struggle with this game, man. For a second, I was like, Michigan State's live. Then I was like, maybe BC's better. At the end of the day, give me the points at Michigan State. Nick, what are you doing?
No, I kind of echo those sentiments. I do think Michigan State is live, but I think Boston College probably squeaks out a win. But Michigan State covers. Close game.
Patty?
Flip a coin on who wins straight up, but I
Take
think
the points, right?
Yeah, take the points.
That's kind of what I settled with too.
Yeah.
Fresno. They took on New Mexico State last week. Now they said we'll go to Albuquerque and take on the Lobos. Fresno's laying 15. I'll lay it, but I don't feel great about this because, as you see, like New Mexico's offense can kind of fly. Jason Beck doing a good job already for an offense that wasn't the most prolific a season ago. So give me Fresno minus the points. But Nick, what are you doing here?
Here's where I disagree. I think New Mexico's feisty this year. They're probably not going to win a lot of games, but just like against Auburn, they're going to compete and play teams close, especially at home now. Give me the points.
Patty?
Fresno State super dominant last week. And look, New Mexico's been giving up points to a similar quality offense. Gave up 61 to Arizona, 45 to Auburn. I think Fresno might be better offensively than Auburn, certainly, but maybe even Arizona. So I think just on the sheer number of points alone, I got to lean Fresno State here.
All right, let's go. Next up, we are going to Corvallis. Purdue just gave up a cool 66 to a shitty Notre Dame offense. Oregon State, though, definitely in a rebuild, but I'm still on the Beavs Reser Stadium. I'm laying the 4.5. Nick?
I'm going to take Purdue to cover for some reason. I'm not sure if they're going to pull off the upset, but I don't trust Oregon State yet. And I guess Purdue can't play any worse than they did last week.
Patty, what are you doing?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, Purdue looked great. Let's chalk that loss last week up to Notre Dame being super mad. A long trip for Purdue. I think Oregon State probably benefits from a great home field advantage here, but still, I don't know how good they are. So I'll lean Purdue to cover.
Wow. Look, Portland State couldn't play last week because of a case of whooping cough. Last time that hit a person, it was Doc Holliday. BC is laying 41.5 against whooping cough. I'm sorry, BC. Boise State is laying 41.5 against whooping cough. I'm going to take Boise State, but don't bet this game. What are you guys doing in the battle of Boise against whooping cough? Nick?
Yeah, give me Boise. I think Genty might rush for 8 touchdowns in this one. Genty, sorry. I always say Genty.
Patty, what are you doing here?
Portland got annihilated pretty early on. Who was that?
Yeah,
by?
I think that I'm claiming their whooping cough to be bullshit. I think they gave up 70 to Washington State, and they're like, "We're sick. What do we got?"
43 to Weber the following week. Yeah, they you know what they're pulling? A Michigan.
We can't blame it on COVID anymore. What's next?
Yeah, exactly.
Spanish flu, whooping cough.
I can just see someone in Oregon just being like, "Whooping cough." There's this thing called whooping cough. Yeah. All right, lay it. No, you thought I'm done with my locks? No, I got one left. Here's one for you. Kansas State is laying 7 at BYU in a series that goes back to 1957. You ready for this?
Curious where you're going with this.
BYU's winning this outright.
Wow.
Avery Johnson has played one road game before, and he struggled. He didn't look great against Tulane. Well, let me tell you, Tulane is nothing compared to Lavelle Edwards Stadium. All right, you get there, you got the altitude. You just had a huge win on national television, and BYU, and I'm on the over. They were being disrespected as a program. I think a lot of people thought BYU was trash. They had a down year because they had a case. Look, Portland State has a case of whooping cough. BYU had a case of Keaton Slovis, and Keaton Slovis will fuck you up your whole season. All right, BYU is going to win this game outright. Lock it up.
That's an underrated point you just made.
Yeah.
Slovis really, I do think, was a huge problem for them.
For USC, for Pitt, look at all. He's a walking case of whooping cough. You know what I mean?
He's your who's Montgomery at ECU. He's a mole.
Yes, he's Shane Montgomery. Scotty Montgomery. Nick, what are you doing here?
I disagree. K-State's a better team. I don't know. I still don't know how good BYU is. It's not like I came away impressed with their win at SMU.
Beat your little shitty SEC or ACC school. All right, that you guys.
I'm glad I'm on the SMU under. I'm glad they won that game. No, K-State, they're going to take care of business. This is a professional team, if you will. They're going to. This is a business trip, and they're going to handle their business at BYU. And this is where BYU comes back down to earth.
I don't know if I agree, but I could see that happening. I think I think the line's about right. However, I kind of want to lean BYU. The thing is, their 34-point output against Wyoming actually is a disappointing. I think that shows how bad their offense is, BYU's. And what they did against SMU, only hanging 18, is I think if they're gonna do it, they're gonna have to shut down K-State. However, I think they'll be close to that. K-State by 6. So BYU gets the cover.
You're wrong. Kansas State's also got Oklahoma State on deck. Perfect look ahead spot. You go into LaVell Edwards Stadium.
Is K-State the type of team to look ahead?
Yeah, on the road. Yeah, at a lethal spot. Come on. Final game on the slate. We got a game on the island.
Play that tune.
Yes, Thank you. I almost forgot about that.
By the way, can we have an SGPN album that we make? We need to release that. It's got to have
it's like a jock jam.
Spirit of ECU.
Yeah.
It's got to have. What else could it have? Friends through eternity.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Bosworth song.
Bosworth song.
We need the full rendition of that though. It's hard to find.
And we close out the album just like we do on the show with Hard Ticket to Hawaii every time.
Northern Iowa's catching 8.5 on the island. No, Hawaii gets right. I'm probably going to bet this because it's late night and I'll be chasing. But for right now, no lock. Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm on Hawaii too. I'll probably bet it because it's late night and I'll be flush with cash. Opposite of you. Yeah, we bet Hawaii.
Patty, what are you doing?
Hawaii has let me down. Northern Iowa is sitting there at 2-1. What have they done aside from getting slapped around by Nebraska? Beat
Nothing.
Valpo and St. Thomas.
Terrible.
Okay. No, I'm going Northern. That's a long trip. They're probably going to part.
It's a hard trip, buddy.
It is a hard trip. They may actually be partying their ass off in Hawaii. I don't think the folks in Northern Iowa get out to the islands that much. So let's go Rainbow Warriors.
Let's go. All right, folks. That is our show. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. Patty C is on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColeBD. College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Also, YouTube.com/The College Experience. Hit that like and subscribe button. The college basketball episodes are flying off the shelves. The season's gonna tip before you know it. College Basketball Experience, Moneyline Mac, Noah Beanick been killing it. Also, check out the College Baseball Experience and the FCS College Football Experience, as well as the Stadium Heads podcast. And wait, you thought you were done with college football? No. Sports Gambling Podcast, college football episode coming up next. If you're on YouTube, just stay put. I've already hit the redirect. It's going to feed right in seamlessly. It's like going from Rocky 3 to 4. You're just in for a treat. All right. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot.